Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Flameless Fireside podcast. Tonight we're going to be interviewing Brent McClellan. Today it's January 3rd, 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. We are going to be talking about a couple hot topics currently circulating around Facebook different groups, or talking about narcissists. Are they the heroes or are they the villains? It seems like it's a label that seems to be tossed around quite a lot nowadays. So let's go ahead and see what we have to talk about today.
I mean, since there's nothing off limits, I'm just going to get it out of the way. The only reason I'm on this podcast was to ask Whitney out.
Go for it. Let's hear your best one-liner.
Okay, wait. Before you do that, there's a few things you need to know. First of all, Whitney.
Don't even tell me, dude. You're going to ruin it. I don't even want to know. I just want to ask her out.
Don't worry.
If you taser, then you got a leg up. So you need to bring a taser with you on the date, and Whitney always pays. So those two things, you're set.
I usually leave the tasing to the women, so...
Perfect. We're going to
leave it like a voluntary tase? Do they know that you're leaving the tasing to them? Or is this one of those they react to whatever your dance looks like and the tasing?
It's one of those, you just let the night go how it's going to go.
You just have to wait for the right moment. Like, you'll know when it's there.
You know what? I think
That's usually when the handcuffs are on. Then you tase.
Here's how it works. This method has never failed me in my life. Anytime, like I'm on a date or I'm with a guy and I look at him and I say in my brain, I'm not even kidding, I'm dead serious, this works every time. I say in my brain, I want you to kiss me. He does it every time. Every time. So same thing. When I look at him in the face and I'm like, I want to tase you right now, then he just lets me. It just works.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, that's my dating secret, everyone. Feel free to use it.
Now we know. It's all in Whitney's eyes.
It's true. When I give that look and I'm saying in my brain, kiss me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say tase me. It's like, it's in your eyes. Just tase me.
Okay, here's the thing. Just to set the record straight, we have a decent audience here. I am not a crazy person that wants to tase everybody. That is what it has become to everyone else, because it literally gets brought up multiple times a week in the Facebook groups. People like bring it up to me. I just want to know, is my taser going to be enough to keep me safe if someone broke into my house or no? So I just want to know what would happen if I tase someone. Like, what can I expect? That's all. That's all I want to know.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I just, Everett, you like let the cat out of the bag.
Well, there's always those things you need to know about Whitney before you go out on the date. So
if you have been in those Facebook singles groups at any point over the last 2 years, I don't know how you don't know it's a thing. People like literally tag me multiple times a week in stuff about tasing. And I'm like, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, I like surprises. So I don't like do any research. I don't know what people like, what they don't like. I just,
You don't know that I like tasing and tacos? Because like literally that's all anyone knows about me.
I mean, I think that's usually a given for most women.
True.
So.
I'm very basic then.
Tacos, you're in. Oh. I like you.
Well, now that we've got that out of the way, now that you know Whitney's secrets and you guys can kind of hook up and sort of figure it out afterwards, who's going to do the tasing, who's going to wear the handcuffs, and who's going to murder who, because that's always another one of Whitney's questions.
I do have 2 sets of handcuffs I could bring.
Fun.
I also have 2 tasers. We could do it like a draw, like a speed round. Who can handcuff the other one?
Both handcuffed each other and then tased each other at the same time.
Yes.
And see who can like recover faster.
How are you going to tase me if you're in handcuffs?
Oh,
backwards, behind the back. You do it. It can be done.
I'm quite flexible.
That does sound like a challenge to me.
It does. I definitely need to take you up on that.
So the handcuffs aren't around your ankles. Because then you can't run away.
Hey, remember the what's the safe word?
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
All right. Well, Brent, welcome to tonight's show. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I don't know you, so this is a great chance for me to get to know you a little better. Apparently Nick knows you. I think Whitney maybe a little bit.
I don't, but I do now.
All right. Sounds like it's going to get
got the basic stuff out of the way. That's all that matters.
The important things, yeah.
Yep. So really the whole point of our show is really to get to know you and to get to discuss some of the topics that we find all the time on the Facebook groups and in the dating groups. And tonight's topic, we're going to talk about narcissism. So lucky you get to kind of jump right into the deep end a little bit because...
Is that why I was invited to this episode?
That's
yes.
Narcissist.
Yeah. Ooh, let's get the narcissist and talk about narcissism.
I'm just saying people are talking.
Right.
Well, I'm already saying I am one, so it's okay. It's fitting. All right.
So actually, we just kind of choose a topic, and it's a chance for you to kind of express your opinion on that, as well as it gives us a chance to know you a little bit. Narcissism is one of those hot topics that everybody's got an ex that's a narcissist, it seems like. So
I don't.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. You don't?
Right.
Yeah. Lies. Total lies. Anyway.
I think so.
Liar!
Right. So, anyways, we're going to talk about that in depth a little bit more. Whitney actually is, I don't know, are you a moderator in one of the narcissistic
I
groups?
am an admin in,
Okay.
I forget the name of it. Obviously, I'm not a very good admin, but it's something like LDS, Survivors of Narcissistic Abuse, something like that. I don't know. I'm not the best admin, obviously.
This is a group that I lasted all of about, I don't know if it was the same group or not, but I might have lasted 2 hours in there before they kicked me out.
You weren't ever in this group because
I was in one similar to it, and it didn't last long. I simply asked one question, one post. Everyone got offended, and then they booted me out. So
I mean, I feel like that's like your life, though, is you just try to cause arguments. So.
I'm curious if ever went on to Survivor or anything like that. Would he actually like make it a couple rounds, or they just be like, "Dude, this guy's just a dick"?
At some point, yes, everyone on the island is just going to murder him and probably eat him, and they're like, "Sweet dinner."
I could see you lasting a little bit though, Everett. I could see you pulling the strings.
Somehow he's going to get some girls that think he's cute, and they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I'll do whatever you want." Everybody else is going to be like, "Man, he's an a-hole."
Well, here's the thing. So I definitely like to stir the pot.
Final three.
Final three. I'll be like the Russell Hantz of Survivor, if anybody knows Survivor.
There it is, Russell. I love Russell.
That's right. If you've never seen Survivor and you don't know the show, then you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But
for those of you that don't know, that's the Samoa episodes.
He's actually been on 3 different times. So
villains and
is he a villain then?
It was a good, he was definitely a villain.
Of course he was, yeah.
I stopped watching Survivor after like 10 seasons because they all just seem like they repeated.
They do.
Yeah. I've never seen it
Ever?
Well, here's the thing. This is why Nick and Whitney say I'm kind of a jerk in there, because I get on the Facebook groups and I see people kind of posting their stuff, and I sometimes just sit here shaking my head like, you can't be freaking kidding me. This is like, it's like the battle of the sexes half the times. Like the men hate the girls hate the guys. Everybody's like so damaged from these past relationships that they're projecting all of their crap onto each other. Nobody recognizes it. And so all you have to do is kind of like drop a little like truth bomb in there, and everybody's like, ah! And they just freak out like, oh, how dare you say something like that? So
is it necessarily a truth bomb though, or is it just a bomb?
Okay, Nick.
Or is it an opinion bomb?
He shines a light on something truthful about what these people have said, and then everybody's just like,
everybody's like, oh my gosh, he's a dick.
We prefer Richard here, Whitney. Thank you.
Sorry. I thought it was penis. I thought we prefer penis.
Yeah, say it with me, everybody.
I definitely don't.
You're the only one that prefers it.
Vagina.
Everett's a penis.
Thank you. Okay, so now that we've established that I'm a penis, or Richard, or whatever you want to call me, Brent, the show here is about you and getting to know you. So,
Brent, are you a penis?
I don't know. You tell me. I do not prefer penis. That is for sure. I don't know if I am one. You guys can be the judge of that.
I think that's a subjective comment. So some say yes, some say no, right?
We'll find out by the end of the night.
Let's do a vote in the comments. Yes or no, is Brent a penis? See what happens. At the end of the show, we'll tally the results and we'll find out what the truth
Okay,
is.
once we get to the open forum at the end, we'll just do like a raise your hands, yes or no. And we'll count them.
Right.
So everyone, keep this in mind.
Okay, so Brent, you are from Wisconsin, right?
No.
Oh,
not even close.
Right.
That was the other guy you were hitting on in the hot tub.
Got it.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Where are you originally from? Give us your details.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll just start with the basics and you guys can tell me where you want the conversation to go.
Sure. Yeah. What do you do for work? Let's start there.
With what I do for work?
Yep.
So my day job is for a software company. It's called Willis Towers Watson. We're a reseller of Medicare supplemental insurance. So I work in the project management department. I manage the PMO. And so I have a bunch of people that basically do all the work and I kind of just manage them and make sure that they're doing the right things at the right times. And so I've been doing that for like 20 years. So it's kind of just a natural thing for me to do. And, you know, it's kind of comes easy for me. So I actually started a few businesses this last year in 2020. So I'm trying to become an entrepreneur. Yeah, I'll tell you about a couple of them. So I actually went on a date with a girl in like March and we basically just became friends and she was opening up this ice cream / coffee / specialty drink shop. So it's like Starbucks, Fizz or whatever those are called and like ice cream all together. And she invited me to the grand opening. I was planning on going and then COVID hit. And so they couldn't open. And I just kind of kept in contact with her. They finally wanted to open in May. And she said they got they had a snag with one of their investors. And so they couldn't open. And I was like, well, how much are you looking for? And she told me, and I was like, well, I'll do it. And she was really surprised because we had only been on one date and really just texted a few times.
So this is in Utah, right?
This is all in Utah, yeah. So I grew up in Utah. Yep. I grew up in Bountiful, basically lived in the same house for 20 years until I went on a mission, came back, moved around a little bit, but mostly lived in Utah. So this is all in Utah.
Soda shops are huge in Utah.
Yeah, and it's actually up in Eden by Pineview. It's a small reservoir up there. It's kind of a smaller town, just east of Ogden. But they're hoping it's like the next Park City. Like 25 years ago, Park City was really small and now it's huge and real estate is ridiculous. So it's more of a long-term investment. To put an ice cream shop there and hopefully, you know, in 20 years kind of cash out type thing. So I just made a small investment into that, but I got to know my business partner and her brother. They're basically 50-50 and then I'm just kind of in there with them for that. And just, you know, 6 months later, we talked and we decided to open up like 3 other businesses. So I do like an adventure rental company. So we bought a couple of Jeeps and we, you know, set them all up with racks and lights and gas cans and tents and all that stuff so that people can rent them and basically go skiing or go camping or do whatever they want.
And what city is this in?
So I live in South Jordan and she lives in Eden. So the ice cream shop is in Eden.
Okay.
The Jeep adventure rentals is basically, I run it out of my home here.
Okay.
So right now we're basically delivering the Jeeps to people that fly in to ski because it's.
So where do they like use them at? Up in northern?
They can go wherever they want. They get 200 miles a day with the rental and they can go wherever they want. And we can basically outfit it however they want. So we can just give them tie downs and they can go paddleboarding or canoeing or whatever. I can put the ski racks on there and they can go up skiing. Or we bought a tent that basically sits on top. If you go to my Facebook page, you guys can see pictures. The tent sits on top and it unfolds from the top and you can basically drive wherever you want, park on any trail and just camp there for the night.
Cool.
And how's that been? That's an interesting time or an interesting business to start during 2020 when you've got lockdowns, you know, everything's just crazy. I mean, some states are better than others. My state is like, you're going to stay in your basement until we tell you to come out sort of thing. So
it's
actually, that's a great idea in 2020.
Yeah, because
people can't go with other people. So go out by yourself in the middle of nowhere.
We can't even do that in our state half the time. They shut down like hiking. They shut down
hiking.
Because, you know, COVID attaches itself to trees. And if you walk by that tree, it's going to jump out and That's how that works.
It's
Only
when
in
the trees
Washington and
fall on
Oregon.
you.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, Utah's definitely not on lockdown that way. You know, in March, April, May, you know, the restaurants were closed and they closed some of the businesses like hair salons and, you know, that type of stuff. But other than that, everything's been fairly open here. And people started going outside more. What's up, Everett?
I'm a little jealous. I want to
It's
be
been-
open again. I'm tired of, I can't even go to a restaurant.
Oh, yeah, that would drive me nuts.
Extended it another week.
In March, I actually bought a bunch of dirt bikes for me and my boys because everything else was closed. We couldn't do the normal, you know, trampoline park. The boys didn't start their baseball camps and kind of that season because they all got postponed. So really the only thing we could do was go camping and dirt biking and kind of get outdoors. They did try to shut down like the state and national parks here in Utah for a little while, but that was only a couple of weeks and then they reopened. So this company is actually perfect for us in this time of year because people are doing more staycations and people are, you know, hanging out here and they are camping and they are doing that stuff outdoors. So that's kind of what we were trying to capitalize on.
Great idea. See a need, fill a need.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my business partner, she was trying to start another business that she used to do with her ex-husband years ago, which is like a tree removal company. So they basically just go cut down trees and, you know, cut them up and put them in a haul them away basically. So I jumped in on that with her because she needed some vehicles and trailers and stuff. And I had the capital in order to be able to help her out. So we went in on that. And then that's mostly like a summer type thing where the business is better for that in the summer. So in the winter, we basically just put snow plows on the front of the 2 trucks that we bought, and we're pushing snow during the winter, waiting for, you know, the tree business to kind of pick up. So we basically just kind of did all of that together this year. Again, just kind of a need and kind of a want just to expand our little business, I guess, and do some things together.
That's got to be murder on insurance trying to get those covered, but
yeah, I mean, it's a couple $1,000s a month to insure all of that because we have to have $1 million policy and things, but
sure.
Yeah.
So how has business been going then? I mean, it sounds like you started this year. Are you going to turn profitable or?
We literally started. So the ice cream shop is doing really well. That opened, we did like a soft opening in May when we went from like an orange to a yellow state for COVID. And then we did like our actual grand opening in July over the July 4th holiday. But it was so restricted for COVID that we couldn't have more than 100 people gathering or something like that at the time. And so we didn't even really advertise. It was really just local people that knew about us that came.
What's your shop called?
It's called Creme de la Creme.
I'm going to go there next time I come through town. Creme
Yeah,
de
in Utah. So
creme.
He's going to take you there, Whitney.
yeah, well, that's where we're going to go on our date.
That's on a
Okay,
date.
perfect.
We're going to wait till after hours and I'm just going to give you the private tour. I will be your chef. I will make
I like this already.
Will you please tase her when she's got food in her mouth and video?
And can we put it on TikTok?
Yes.
Yes. We have security cameras. It'll all be recorded.
Perfect.
Everything will be kosher.
I'm into this already.
I mean, what's better than ice cream and tasing, right?
The CCTV.
I'm lactose intolerant, so this is going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
So have you always been an entrepreneur though, Brent?
No, I haven't. I've always wanted to, but it's just, for me, it's always been about the risk and not having the security of a salary, right? Like most entrepreneurs have to kind of take that risk to live off commissions or whatever. Everyone always told me that I should do it and that I would be good at it, or sales or something like that, just because I am an extrovert. I don't have a problem talking with people. But it was all about the risk for me, and I had a family and I wanted to make sure that we were supported. So that was the path I took for the last 20 years, was just to work for a big company and kind of get a paycheck, right? But the last couple of years has just kind of helped me figure out like what I want to do. And that's what I kind of want to do going forward. So I'm doing both right now. So I got like the little side hustle going, see how it goes and make sure that it's going to work before I jump ship with the.
So your goal is to turn these side hustles into your main gig. That's kind of where you're hoping to go with all this.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. So the other companies that we started, so the ice cream shop started way back, like 6 or 7 months ago. And the other ones we really just started in November. So it's only been a month really since we've started. The Jeeps are actually renting out really well. We We actually were profitable in December with the Jeep, so we were happy about that.
Fantastic.
The truck's not so much because it's not really tree cutting season and it hasn't really snowed that much. So we're kind of we're praying for snow for two reasons, for business and so I can go snowmobiling and all the skiers out there. It just hasn't snowed that much yet. It's been kind of a dry year.
So tell us about your family. You said that you couldn't just jump ship because of your family. How many kids do you have? What's all that?
Yeah, 2 boys. They're 7 and 10 now. So I was married up until about a year ago. We were married for 12 years, and that's when we kind of started our family. So again, like I had a spouse, you know, I wanted to make sure I could support the family, and we started having kids, you know, a couple of years after we were married. So Tanner, he's 10, and Caden is 7.
I have a Tanner.
You do?
Oh, snap. I don't know if this is going to work
Isn't
out.
that kind of like half of Utah, though? You've got a Tanner, a Jordan, and like an Emma. You're set. If you got those somewhere in the mix in Utah, you fit.
How are we going to work this out, Whitney? Your Tanner, my Tanner. How are we going to like distinguish?
My Tanner's only 4, almost 5, so he can be little Tanner.
Okay, little Tanner and big Tanner.
But I do have a 7 and a 10-year-old though.
You do? Cute.
Yeah. We have so much in common.
This is going so well. Thank you guys for joining.
You guys like kind of get your own little private room, and then Nick and I can just.
That would be boring for the rest of you, but whatever.
Well, that's why we're saying your own private room. Nick and I will just do our thing with the rest
You
of
guys
the
want to
audience.
do your thing? All right.
Ridiculous.
So you said you've been divorced for about a year. Is that right?
So we separated last December. And then really we just kind of went through Christmas together, even though we were separated. It's just for the boys, for their sake. One of the things that we really agreed upon when we decided to separate was just, we're going to do whatever is best for our boys. And we've actually been able to accomplish that this year. So we did Christmas together, and then I think it was literally like January 3rd, we went to the mediator and our papers were signed and submitted to the court by like the 15th. And then it just took a couple months to go through the courts. So
it sounds like this was a very amicable separation.
I mean, it ended up being that way. I'll be honest, like
tell us your story.
Her decision
what happened?
You know, I think we had a lot of the same issues that a lot of people have, you know, and in dating this last year, you kind of hear everybody's story and everyone says why they're divorced and why they're single and all this stuff. And I don't think that Sarah, my ex's name is Sarah, so I'll just use her name. Sarah, I don't think Sarah and I really had many different issues than a lot of people have out there. And it's so cliche, but you know, we did grow apart. We didn't really grow together. We focused on the boys. We focused on other things. You know, I had my career. She started a company. And I think we allowed, you know, not on purpose, but we allowed other things to grow between us, or allow us to not grow together and just kind of split us apart. So there are a couple of other things that kind of led to the actual divorce. You know, I don't pretend to be perfect. So, you know,
This is a pineapple moment. You can say
no, this isn't an apple moment, unless you don't want to hear about it.
No, I'm okay. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. So.
No, I'm just saying, like, nobody's perfect, right? And I'm not claiming to be perfect. That, you know, it takes two people in a marriage to make it work. And I made mistakes, and I think that in the end, she just wasn't happy, and there was a lot of things that she kept in, and I didn't understand it at the time, but she basically said, I didn't tell you about all these things that you were doing that bothered me because I didn't want to hurt your feelings, but now it's too late. And there's nothing you can do. And so I was like, well, how is that fair? Now that you're telling me this stuff, like, let me work on it. Let me fix this stuff. And she's just like, no, it's too late. Like, it built up so much for her, and she didn't know how to approach me, how to bring it up, because she didn't want to hurt my feelings, that it just became too much for her. And then she kind of shut off. So that's what ultimately led. What's that, Nick?
So she's the one that initiated the divorce.
Yeah, she's the one that initiated. And that's why I said, like, initially it was a shock to me, but in the end, I think we both realized that we really weren't happy. And a year later, now I realize that, you know, this has been a good year for me. I think I have found myself, quote unquote, know who I am and what I want to do. And I'm sure she's done the same thing. Her and I still talk almost every day, but it's about the boys. I know she's doing well. I know she's happy with where she's at. You know, and I feel the same about myself. I'm happy where I'm at. And it was very amicable. Again, we decided to focus on the boys and make it the best experience possible for them, even through a tough situation. So
That's good.
It is really.
I read a study one time. I just kind of, as you were talking, I was trying to pull it up here because this comes up a lot. You know, couples who aren't happy, who basically like, look, we grew apart. It kind of is what it is. And I don't know your guys' full situation, so yeah, I'm just speaking in generalities here.
Yeah.
But the study basically followed a bunch of couples, and those who were quote unquote unhappy and fell out of love. Basically, all the couples, I should kind of give a better description of this. All the couples were unhappy and had fallen out of love. And there was two categories. There was those couples who stayed together, who decided they were going to, okay, we don't love each other anymore. We're not happy here. We don't like this, but we're going to try and like rebuild and see what we can do here. We're going to try and make this work. And then those are just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm out.
Right.
They came back to them after 5 years. And those couples who had stayed together, obviously with therapy and, you know, some changes and work and things like that. Sorry, this thing keeps popping up of people who keep wanting to come in. So those couples who had worked on this for 5 years, after the 5 years, when they went back to them, found that they were more in love, were happier, and had a stronger relationship than they had ever had in the past. It took a lot of work to get there. A lot of people weren't willing to go through that. Now, those couples who had kind of separated had gone in various directions, but generally as an overall whole, they were not quote unquote happier just as a result of what they had done, kind of getting away from each other. So I always find that interesting because we hear this a lot. I don't know your full situation, you know. Sounds like there was more to the story, and that's up to you to tell if you want to. But, you know, I have a real kind of a hard time when I hear people say, well, you know, we grew apart, we weren't in love anymore, and that's just kind of the way it is. Like, all right, okay, a marriage deserves more than just, yeah, you know, we kind of fell out of love, it's not working out, so, you know, we're gonna go try something else. It's like, yeah, this shoe doesn't really fit anymore, so we get a new pair.
Table's gone cold. Just gonna cash in my chips.
Right.
Well, I think that just comes down to the fact that nobody can make you be happy. The only one that can make you happy is yourself. So you're going to be happy in that relationship, or you're going to be happy alone on your own. Being with that partner isn't going to make you happy. If you're always searching for something better, then no, you're never going to be happy no matter what.
Yeah.
I think those are valid points. And we didn't just give up. You know, we did try counseling. I did individual counseling. She did individual counseling. We did marriage counseling. I think in the end, I don't know that we didn't find the right counselor, or everything is so hard, right? There's so much emotion. There's so much involved in that. At the time that we were struggling, we didn't find the answer. And it's odd that I say this, but knowing what I know now after doing counseling for the last 2 years, if I would have known this stuff that I know now 3-4 years ago, we would still be married. Like, I've learned so much about relationships and about those things. I wish we would have started counseling way before we actually had so many issues and before it got to a point where it was almost irreparable. And so that's, I guess, word to the wise. And I tell people all the time, like, if I get into a serious relationship now and I'm looking to get married again, then I'm going to start counseling with that person before we even get married.
Amen, Brent. Hey, freaking men, brother. I've said that
have that process, that ability to communicate, that platform in place before you have issues, so that you have that to fall back on when there are issues. Like, crap is going to hit the fan no matter what. Marriages are not easy. They're hard.
Well, but it's going to avoid a lot of those issues. A lot of those things are just from bad communication or just from people not talking about it and just keeping it in. It's going to get rid of a lot of those problems so they don't become issues.
It gives you that platform to have that open dialogue and healthy communication, which again, I wish I would have known that 5-10 years ago and done that the whole time instead of just try to repair it at the end, you know, kind of a quick fix. But
it sounds like some of this, it sounds like was sprung on you a little bit at the end. Like, you didn't know there were things that were sort of eating at her and she wasn't really coming forth with you. And to be honest with you, I mean, like I said, I don't know the full story here, but it seems that sounds a little unfair to me. You know, like, What is it, like you fart in your sleep or something like that? Like, hey, I can't handle that. I'm out,
No,
Nick,
I'll give you
sorry,
a
buddy,
good
if that's the
example.
case, you're gonna have a hard time. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, if you have something that's really irritating the other person, if it's just a characteristic or some sort of like personality club that they don't like, that's one thing that can be remedied. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me give you a good example, because yes, it was a little bit unfair, but I don't blame her at all. I blame that we weren't educated and didn't understand and didn't have this platform in place to learn to how to communicate well together and go through those processes while we were still married. So hopefully you guys have heard of attachment styles. There's a couple of different attachment styles. There's like a secure attachment style, which is a healthy, able to communicate, able to talk, willing to look inward,
Anxious.
willing
I'm
to
anxious.
and then there's anxious.
I'm anxious
right?
avoidant.
Yeah, there's anxious and then there's avoidant. So to give you an example, in an argument situation, I'm avoidant. And she would chase me, which would trigger me to not want to argue anymore. But because she has a little bit of separation anxiety, every time I would leave a conversation, it would trigger her to be more anxious and want to resolve the issue. But so she would chase me to resolve that issue, which would trigger me to then become more anxious and want to even flee even more. So literally it was just a cycle and a circle, like a death spiral, because she would chase and I would avoid, we were just triggering each other the whole time. And we never actually learned that together to where I could understand that I couldn't run and she could understand that she didn't need to chase. And we needed to figure out something that worked for us to be able to resolve those issues without just triggering each other. Because once you're triggered, like you're never going to resolve anything. So that's a good example of something that we just didn't understand. And in the end, she's like, well, every time you left a conversation and you've done this for 12 years, it pissed me off and it just built and built and built and built. And that's why I was like, okay, well, let me fix that. And she's like, it's too late. And then I learned about
though. I mean, what is too late? That she just doesn't want to fix it anymore? She doesn't want to give the opportunity? I mean,
she got to a point where there was so much hurt and just, it was almost like she flipped a switch. Like once she made up her mind that she wanted out, there was nothing I could do. And again, that seems a little bit unfair, but it's like, it is what it is. Like, I understand. I don't blame her one bit for that. Like,
so I'm listening to the conversation and I'm seeing that the consensus right now seems to be next time that I get married, I'm going to go through pre-marriage counseling, and that's going to save my marriage, or at least that's going to give me a leg up. And I'll tell you, with my first marriage that I had, I did premarital counseling. She was going through therapy. She was going through school to be a family therapist, and she grew up in a broken home. She's like, you know what? When I get married, we're going to do marriage counseling. We're going to go get a covenant marriage down in Arizona. That's like a specific type of marriage license. And in order for you to get divorced, you have to go through marriage counseling again and do you have to jump through a bunch of hoops. It's not just go sign a piece of paper.
Boy, she wanted to lock you in.
Oh, she did. And I was okay with that. But once we got to the point where she was done with the marriage, we found the loophole right from the start. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. This is what my family counselor said. Said there's three types of people that come to marriage counseling. First, you have the type of person, you have the couple. He doesn't want to hear me. Okay.
We just lose Brent.
Did we lose Brent? I mean, I know I'm talking a little bit, but no, it looks like he's still here.
He's like, nah, I'm out. I'm done with this crap.
You pissed me off, man. Just kidding. Sorry, I had to check something real quick.
He had to scream pineapple. He couldn't just say it. I had to go on blank there for a minute.
I used the cone of silence. Have you guys seen Get Smart or whatever? I used the cone of silence real quick.
Got it.
Right.
Really, counseling only works as long as both people are willing to make it work. And there's actually cases, especially with narcissists, where counseling does a lot more harm than it does good.
Absolutely.
So if one person is done with the relationship, if one person is not willing to work on things in counseling, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter what the other person does. If one person is out, that's it. It's done.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, you've got the two people. One person knows that there's an issue. Other person like, whatever, I guess we'll work on something. Second is they both know that there's an issue, and they're like, well, I'll try to work on it, even though I know it's probably not going to work. Or you've got the two people that are like, one wants to work on it, the other person's already out the door.
Yeah.
So
And
it
I will-
sounds like yours was kind of that last scenario.
Yeah, I will say that I, throughout a lot of our marriage, was like against counseling. You know, it was just like a thing that was instilled in my head from a child. You know, like my parents, they didn't, you know, counseling was a bad thing, and I didn't give it a chance. So,
Well, and I
again,
think that's the problem is like our parents' generation and older, like it is seen as a bad thing. Like if you go to therapy, like you're a crazy person and something's wrong with you. But if more people went to therapy when their relationship was good and they build that foundation, then there would be less couples that are crumbling at the end because they have something to stand on and fall back on.
yeah, that was basically my main point of telling that part was that's what I wish I would have learned or known, you know, years ago.
It sounds like you still kind of have like, I wouldn't say necessarily feelings for her, but you kind of have maybe a little bit of regret, kind of wish you could have had things go a different path.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to?
Doesn't though.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I know lots of people have been like, I was out, I'm happier, it's better this way.
I will say there was no cheating, there was no abuse, there was nothing like major that really caused either one of us to be like, you know what, I'm out. Like we really just couldn't figure out how to make it work to where we were both 100% happy or, you know, happy enough to make it work. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have known, and there are some regrets, I think, on both sides. And I'm just happy that our relationship is now good enough to where we can have open conversation and make our boys' lives like the best lives possible for them. And that's what I've seen over the last year. So, I mean, I literally texted her earlier today and was like, thank you for being such a good mom. I don't have to worry about my boys. Thank you for being easy to work with. Like I don't think either one of us has even read our divorce decree since we signed it, because it says, as long as her and I agree on what we want to do, we can do whatever we want. If we don't agree, then we can default to that decree. And we haven't had to once in the last year. So I'm grateful for that.
So where is she at now in this whole process? Is she dating? Is she in a relationship? Remarried?
She's not married. I believe she's dating. We don't talk about that type of stuff really. I mean, I've seen her on the apps. I wanted to swipe right, but I didn't. No. So I know that she's put herself out there, but we don't really talk about that stuff. But yeah, she's in that same process.
Let's talk a little bit about you putting yourself out there. You got divorced, the papers got signed, and obviously, you know, you're a little bit hurt, you're wounded, you want to just take some time to yourself, but not Brent. No, sir. This man has gone on over 200 dates since he got separated and divorced. So WTF, mate. Most people are like, well, I'm gonna give myself a month or two. Like for every year that I was married, I'm gonna give myself a month off. It sounds like you went from months to hours.
Maybe minutes, actually.
There's two ways to look at that though. One, like you're excited, you're out of here, you're like, I'm free, I'm dating. The other one is, man, I've got a giant void to fill right now, and I just want to go out and like meet a lot of girls, date a lot of people, and kind of start putting this behind me and patching up some of these holes in my heart. So which one was it for you?
So I'll give you a little bit more history. I was married straight off my mission, like within a year, to my first wife. And we were married about 3.5 years. We didn't have any kids. So I've been divorced twice now. After my first divorce, I was the first, you know, person that Nick was talking about. Like I didn't date for an entire year. I had PTSD. I didn't want to be in a relationship. I never wanted to be married. Well, not never wanted to be married again, but I was so scared to be married again. We were married in the temple, you know, did all the things that I was supposed to do as an LDS priesthood holder. And it didn't work out. And so I started
getting kids from that relationship.
No kids from that relationship. No. So it was kind of just one of those like easy breaks. You know, she moved on, I moved on. She was actually remarried within a year of our divorce, and she's still with him.
That's like totally my story.
Was that your story?
That's totally my story.
Which part? Did you marry my ex-wife?
No, my ex, we got divorced, and within a year she was married to this new guy that she was flirting with before we were divorced. So apparently that's
I don't think that was part of my story. So
right.
I don't believe there was any
Nice
infidelity.
try, Nick.
But
You're
anyway,
doing good. Keep it up. Keep it up.
yeah, I was just saying, like, I was so shy to get back out there because I was really like damaged or just not sure what I needed to do, and so gun shy about, you know, jumping into any other relationship. And I knew what that felt like. So I didn't date for like a year, and then I dated for about 3 years before I met Sarah, and then we got married. You know, to the mother of my children, Sarah. I did not feel the same way this time. I didn't feel like, again, there was no like major thing that happened between us that caused so much trauma that I didn't feel like I could move on. Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, I had regrets. Yeah, I wish things would have worked out differently. But when her and I finally came to the conclusion that we were going to move forward with divorce, like I kind of just was like, all right, if there's nothing I can do, and I mean, I asked her straight out, is there any possibility at all that we could work this out, even if it's through months or years of therapy? And she looked me straight in the eyes and said, no.
So how long was that period? Like the period of things aren't working to the divorce?
Well, I mean, looking back, things weren't working for years, right? We weren't happy for years, but we didn't never have those conversations.
So once you had the conversation,
we had counseling for about a year. One of the other main things that actually led us to actually decide to go through divorce is she decided to leave the church. So regardless of anything else, and if we could have worked through all of the other things that we were already working on as a couple in marriage, the fact is I believe in the LDS church and I want to continue down that path, and she didn't. And so when we had a serious conversation about that, and I said, I feel like we're on two different paths here. I feel like I believe in this and you don't. Like, even if we work through all the other stuff, where does that put us? And it doesn't put us on the same path. I want to be with somebody that I can go to the temple with and that I can work through my religious beliefs with in this life, not somebody that is on a different path. And I don't know what's going to happen after this life. I don't know how all that's going to work out, but the way that I understand it is I want to be with somebody that believes the same thing. So that did play into our decision to finally just say, you know what, we could work through all this other stuff and we still might not be happy simply because of our religious beliefs.
Interesting.
So it was going to be hard anyways, but was it worth going through all of that heartache and all of that work to work through everything else when we still couldn't agree upon the religion? So
I know when I got divorced, I felt like there was a lot of people like judging on like when I started dating again. Like I felt like people were looking at the divorce as like the beginning of that process, but that was the end. Like we'd already been working through all that crap. He had left the church. Like we'd already gone through like those emotions for the past year had been going away as far as like us together. I'd come to terms with it. And I feel like divorce, a lot of times, like that's the end of that. So the people that look at you and you're like, oh, well, you shouldn't date for a year after you get divorced. You don't know what I've been doing for the past year when I didn't tell anyone, when I laid at home crying myself to sleep every night because my husband was an a-hole. Like, you don't know my story. Yep. So you can't judge if I started dating after a month or after a year or after 5 years. I think you are the only person that knows what your situation was. So you're the only one that can judge what you did. And if you feel like going on 200 dates in 1 year is what you need to do, go for it.
Yeah. So I saw a question come up. Yeah, we were married in the temple and we did not do a temple divorce. I don't know where I'm at with that.
I don't think the church just does a temple divorce, do they? I don't think you can just say, hey, we're getting divorced. I'd like a temple divorce. Usually there's something that you have to like.
Circumstances. There's a couple of things. If she's going to get remarried in the temple, she would have to get a temple divorce from me to be remarried.
Right. There has to be some extenuating circumstance typically.
But because
not anymore.
Crazy, like
not anymore.
Right.
No, that's been changed within like the last couple of years. Before, for a woman to get her sealing canceled, she had to be getting remarried, but she doesn't have to do that anymore.
Right. I was going to say that that's the other scenario. One is if she's going to get remarried in the temple. Two is if she decides that she really does want a sealing cancellation or temple divorce, then she could request it. And they do grant those now. She hasn't to this point that I know of. So we haven't gone through that yet, or she hasn't requested it. So to answer your previous question, Whitney, so she told me she wanted to leave the church in April. And so 6 months of counseling and kind of working through stuff, by December is when we decided that it wasn't really going to work out and that it wasn't going to be worth going through all of that because we knew we weren't going to be on the same page with religion anyways. Mm-hmm. And then from that to the actual divorce was only 3 months. It was from like the beginning of December to the beginning of March, because again, once we both like said, this is it, we're going to go our separate ways. We did mediation. We didn't even really fight over stuff. We split everything 50-50 and we signed the papers and went our way.
So there's a lot of people that when they get divorced, especially people that have grown up in the church, even in Utah for that matter, probably even outside of Utah, I haven't really looked at the stats or whatnot. They went and they did everything right. They saved themselves for marriage. They got married in the temple. They did their weekly, they checked all the boxes like they should, and they still got a divorce. And now for them, it is more of a, listen, I just want somebody that's going to treat me right. If they're a member of the church, if they're not very active in the member of the church, but they are a good person, that's what I want.
Yep.
So it sounds more like you're falling in the corner of, I want them to be a good person, but they need to be active in the church as well.
So it's funny because that was one of the things that ultimately allowed us to come to that decision to get divorced. And in the last year, my viewpoint on that specific topic has actually changed, because I started thinking about those same things. Like, I've actually done that twice now and neither one of them worked. So is saving yourself for marriage and getting married in the temple and doing everything right according to the LDS church, is that going to work again for me? Like, no. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Sorry, I thought that was the question.
Am I going to be insane by doing this again, right? And expecting it to work? I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I have to be one way or the other. Like, she has to be LDS or has to be active or whatever. I want somebody that's a good person, that's going to make me happy, that I can make happy, that we work well together, and we'll figure out the religion stuff. Like, there's so much that I believe is going to happen after this life that could still work out. And I mean, yeah, my ultimate goal is to find somebody that I can be sealed to forever. I just don't know that has to happen in this life.
I feel like that's important, but it's not the most important. Like I did, like Nick said, I did all the things that I was supposed to do. And he pretended to do those things for the whole time we were married, but he didn't even believe in God the whole time we were married. He didn't tell me. So just because he went on a mission and we got married in the temple, like, that didn't guarantee that we were set for life. And so next time, I'm not going to be looking for a return missionary. I'm going to be looking for like a good guy. And if he happens to be a member, bonus. But that's not like my main focus. Yeah. And honestly, at this age, like, we're 30 and 40, missions were so long ago, like, who cares anymore? I know plenty of great LDS guys that never went on missions.
Yeah. The funny thing is that, like, divorce happens inside and outside the church. So we're always looking at things going, well, I did it right and it didn't work out. Well, everybody else outside of the church would say the same thing. I did it right. I married him and everything else, and that didn't work out. The fact of the matter is, especially in the church, my personal belief is Satan would love nothing more than to break up, especially a covenant eternal marriage. And so to think that somehow just going through and doing those steps is going to somehow exclude us from all of those other things and make us exempt from those, temptations and buffetings of Satan and all of that kind of stuff, it just seems to me to be kind of fairy tale. It seems to me that people think that, well, I've gone through these things and now it's supposed to work because it's formulaic. No, that's just the beginning. Now the real temptations will start. Now the real fiery darts are going to come because that's how this works. It's like, well, I got baptized, now my life should be great, right? No, that's what he wants. He wants to destroy, especially the best things. So when we do those things right, I would expect there to be a healthy dose of problems and difficult struggles to try and tear that down. Now it's up to us, of course, to kind of put ourselves in those good situations, but I see this conversation going on a lot, especially on the Facebook groups of, man, I did everything I was supposed to do and it didn't work out. Well, what is that supposed to mean? You know, a Catholic did everything they were supposed to do too, and they still get divorced. Divorce is divorce, whether you're in the church or out of the church. Just because you do all of those steps doesn't give you Willy Wonka's golden ticket to get into the chocolate factory and everything's magical gumdrops. You're supposed to have those problems in this life. Welcome to freaking life, right? Mm-hmm. This is where our time to struggle and our time to like overcome these obstacles really is. And a covenant marriage, if I was kind of like the screw tape letters, right? I don't know if you ever read that book or not, but that's basically, you know, where they're the devil and they're kind of writing letters back and forth to other devils on tactics and techniques to tempt the other person, right? So if I'm like, and I think Screw Tape was one of the devils. It was a, why am I drawing a blank on his name?
His name is Woodworm, is the name of the younger devil that is trying to learn how to entice and tempt his person. And Screw Tape is the older, wiser devil in the hierarchy. And it's almost like he's a nephew or something like that. And he's like, yeah, if you want to do this, this is the best way that you can get him to do stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So basically my point with that is if you're looking at it from the adversary's point of view, where's he going to spend his resources? Right. And I have a friend, dear friend, who's Seventh-day Adventist, and we have this conversation all the time. If you're a tempter, right? Would you rather go after somebody who's 99% of the way there? Look, this guy does drugs and alcohol, and you know, he just is a kind of a cruddy person as far as how he lives his life. Or are you going to spend your effort on somebody who's trying to live their life right? So, you know, one of them, you don't even need much effort. You just blink and then they're down the road and they're off the cliff, right? The other one's going to take a lot of effort. So I would imagine every time there is a covenant temple marriage, that's where those resources from the other side get spent. I believe that gives us this is totally my opinion, right? So take it for what it's worth, flush it down the toilet if you don't like it, whatever. But I believe that gives us the greater disadvantage as far as Satan's going to be coming after us more.
So if I marry a non-member, it's less likely that Satan's going to screw with me, and that's going to make it easier for me.
He's still not going to stop, though. Why would he want you to progress to get to the temple now?
I know I wouldn't be.
There's always going to be something that he's going to want to prevent you.
Now I would give up, and then he'd give up on me.
Do not be tempted.
So, anyways, my 2 cents on that. I see this one on Facebook all the time, and it's kind of an interesting thing, but just because you went through those hoops and you did what you were supposed to do doesn't mean that you get the free ride. It just means that, you know, you're in the same boat as everybody else and you're going to have to work at it. And it's going to be difficult. And that doesn't mean that if it doesn't work out, that somehow you did it wrong. It just means that you were just like everybody else. You were tempted, things happened, whatever came along, life, call it what you will, but things didn't work out. But that doesn't mean you stop trying that path.
Agreed.
That's my personal opinion. Take it for what you want with it. So anyways.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, you know, our main topic tonight that we were going to discuss, this is kind of an interesting segue because, you know, when you go through any sort of separation, any sort of like a breakup, oftentimes it's bad, whether it lasts for a long time where there's that hard feeling or something like that, or it's just in that moment when things are bad. There's usually that feeling of that other person is a jerk. Oftentimes it gets labeled as narcissism. That's kind of a growing trend in society today. And so that's kind of what we wanted to talk about today, because this is big talk in the LDS community. You know, gosh, I broke up with my ex. They're such a freaking jerk. They're a total narcissist. And I've said this before on here, you know, when I joined, I actually got put into this narcissistic, I think it was a narcissistic survivor group or something like that. So to give you a little background on this, my ex was actually diagnosed bipolar and narcissistic personality disorder. And it was a lot of fun. So I have some like strong feelings on this and personal experience with it. But, you know, I went into this group and I asked a very simple question. What to you constitutes narcissism? And people got pissed. Like on a scale of 1 to 10 being pissed, they were a 15. Like, how dare you take away my pain and tell me that I didn't have that? I'm like, look, nobody took away your birthday, okay? You can still have it. I didn't piss in your Cheerios. All that I asked was what constitutes narcissism to you? And you would have thought that literally I just burned their house down. Somehow, some way, people want to have this truth, whether it's truth or not. My ex is a narcissist. Okay, are they really? Yes. And I remember one in particular. I asked them, well, why, what makes them a narcissist? Why do you say that? They said, well, we had a temple marriage and they cheated on me. Okay. Only person that would ever cheat on somebody with a temple marriage is a narcissist. I'm pretty sure the DSM does not have that listed in there as a qualification for being a narcissist. By the way, if anybody doesn't know what the DSM is, it's basically the psychological kind of handbook of diagnosing things. And it stands for like diagnostic standard medical, I don't know, something. Hold on, I'd have to look it up. So anyways, so
Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders.
Yeah,
I do think it's important to distinguish that every person, me, Everett, like every person has narcissistic tendencies. Like it's on a scale. We all
Absolutely.
do narcissistic things at times, but
100%.
not every person has NPD. Like that, those are separate things. So yes, maybe your ex, not saying you, like in general, maybe in general, people's exes do show narcissistic traits or act in narcissistic ways. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have narcissistic personality disorder. But when you're learning about those things and you're learning about how to deal with those kind of things, it could be helpful for you in either situation. Whether they're a diagnosed narcissist or not, learning how to cope with that can still be helpful to you. I think the issue, Everett, with you going into that group is depending on how it was phrased, because I know that you like to stir the pot. If people felt like maybe you were devaluing their experience and trying to put them down, like what they experienced wasn't real for them, which it was. Did they use the right terms? Possibly, possibly not. But nobody wants to feel like my experience is not valid.
No, I would totally 100% agree with that. And literally, before I had a chance to even respond, I simply posted that question. So I hadn't devalued anyone, at least in my mind. I mean, I guess if you guys feel like that's devaluing or something like that, I just asked the question, what constitutes narcissism to you? And I had one girl who literally was like, I am fighting mad right now and I would punch you if I could. Like, for asking that question, like, all right, cool. I guess, I mean, let me get the good side here and just kind of turn that cheek and get a good shot in. But it was really crazy. I'm surprised. And what it tells me more than anything is that there's a lot of hurt. You know, there's a lot of pain, and I get that. We've all experienced it. And people want to have, look, you're entitled to your own opinion. And I love this. I'm going to steal a line here, but you're not entitled to your own facts, right? So you can say, I feel like my ex is a narcissist, but I don't feel like, sorry, I totally got distracted reading the comments there, Nick. I feel like my ex is a narcissist, but is that true across all situations? So Brent, I apologize. I feel like I've kind of railroaded you here a little bit. This is kind of your podcast. when we're getting into that with your ex and you guys fighting, you guys sound like you had a very amicable situation, right? I mean, maybe not entirely. I think you got it on mute there, buddy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me unmute for some reason. Nick, thank you. Yeah, I don't think that Sarah was a narcissist at all. Like, probably the opposite. She is a people pleaser. And again, the one story that I told you guys was that she didn't want to hurt my feelings, right? Like, she was taking it all upon herself to not be selfish, to not, you know what I mean, just put it all on me. So I really don't have a lot of experience with this, except like the majority of the girls I date, their ex-husbands were narcissists.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they call you a narcissist. I was like, why? Why is that? Let's dive into that.
And I'm just like, oh, it's nice to meet you. That's why I've gone on 200 dates, because if they say that, I'm just like, all right, we're done.
So if a girl tells you that her ex was a narcissist, you're like, I'm out?
No, I'm just teasing. But
hey, everybody gotta have the boundary. Like, oh, what? Oh.
No, but it is like a red flag to me, because I'm like, do you really even know what a narcissist is? Were they really diagnosed with it? Or are you just saying they were selfish and controlling? You know what I mean? Like, do they have those tendencies or some of the things, right? So it's not even like a red flag. I'm just saying it's something that I've paid attention to, because a lot of people say it, like you said, a lot of people claim that their exes were, when really they weren't.
The thing that I was learning about this whole process is that it's really hard for clinicians to diagnose a narcissistic personality disorder, because how do you diagnose somebody off of just being a jerk? You know, and that's what a lot of the people are having issues with. They're like, my ex was such a jerk. He never really cared. Like, I would start crying and he would start laughing, and he had no empathy for me, and so that's what makes him a narcissist. Like,
well, and the other issue is a lot of narcissists are very charming, and they will be one person in public and another person in private. And so they'll go into the counseling session and they're going to be charming and they're going to talk that counselor's socks off, even if that is not who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're never going to admit they have a problem. So if you're like, hey, you need to go in and find out if you have NPD, they're not going to do that. Not a chance.
The majority case basis on why a narcissist will go and get counseling is because they can't hold down their job. They are having issues in their marriage. Anything where it's affecting their life, then they will go and seek something. But for the majority case basis, you're right. I mean, they are very charming. They have great work ethic on a majority case basis. They want to do so well at something that they get so much credit. And that's why a lot of them are like running companies and running shows. And because they are being successful, they won't go and get a diagnosis for anything, because, well, that doesn't.
They don't think anything's wrong with them.
Exactly.
They think that they're always right.
Okay, so let me read a little bit here. This is from the DSM-5 about, and this is narcissistic personality disorder. Now, keep in mind, like Whitney said, there's a difference between narcissistic personality disorder, which is really crappy, and a narcissist. Now, we, as Whitney said, perfectly spot on. We can all have narcissistic personality tendencies, right? We all have some of those traits. Sometimes we can be a jerk. Sometimes you can just say, you know what, this is me. But Nick and Whitney both hit it right on that it has to be pervasive across multiple situations. So it's not like in our marriage, when things were falling apart, they were a total narcissist. That's not like, that's a situational thing. That's, you're going through that crap with that person. Yeah, they're probably, you know, not going to be very nice to you. They're probably going to be maybe a bit narcissistic, but do they carry this out? Is it pervasive across relationships at work, with you, with friends, with whoever? Is this like a consistent pattern of theirs? So according to the DSM-5, they must have 5 of these, and it says it must be pervasive, meaning it cuts across situations and with a variety of people at work and at home. It has to involve social and occupational impairment and subjective distress. In other words, it's messing up their personal life. So it's not like they're just being a jerk to you. It's literally messing up their life. They have to have 5 of these characteristics, and there's 9 total. So the characteristics are, remember, 5 out of these 9. So here's the 9. Number 1, a grandiose sense of self-importance. Number 2, a preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Number 3, a belief that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. 4, a need for excessive admiration. 5, a sense of entitlement. 6, interpersonally exploitative behavior. Sorry, read that. Yep, a little bit of a misspelling there. 7, a lack of empathy. And I think I've seen several people mention that there. Now remember, a lack of empathy, we're at 1. That's 1 out of the 9. So they has to carry out across relationships with multiple people and has to have at least 5 of these for narcissistic personality disorder. Envy of others or a belief that others are envious of him or her, and a demonstration of arrogant and haughty behaviors or attitudes. So when we're talking about this is where I think when we run into those Facebook groups, we see people who they take one of these and they latch onto it. And they say, well, my ex acted this way. They acted really entitled to me. And so therefore they're a narcissist. Okay, I will tell you, for my ex, entitlement, if I were to say that she was entitled, that would be an insult to the word entitlement. Like, she takes it to a whole new level and beyond. But that alone is not enough to label her a narcissist, right? I used to say that when we would like go into counseling and the counselor was like, okay, this is just ridiculous. I would always tell her that she suffered from SBS, which was kind of my own personal thing. I'm like, that spoiled brat syndrome. Like, really, therapy for you would be someone needs to spank your butt because that never happened when you were younger. You got away with everything. But yeah, anyways, that's probably me being a narcissist, right? Anyways, I'm throwing this out there because we see this a lot. Brent, you're going to be running into this a lot, especially in the dating world. And I get it. I definitely get it. We all have those pains and we all feel like this sucks. I've been damaged. I've been hurt. And they want to have that truth, but it's a whole different thing to be a jerk or be a narcissist to that person in that moment. You're going through a freaking divorce. You're going to expect some of these traits, but do they do this at work to everybody else? Is this really who they are at their core, or is this situational?
Sure. I mean, and if they don't hit on the 5, then they're not a narcissist. But if they hit anything up to 5, then they're just an asshole.
Yeah, that's what the DSM says. You know, only 4, you're cool. Anything above that, you're a narcissist. So I'm pretty sure there's a like a-hole personality disorder. Like, you got APD. Sorry, man. Yeah.
So Troy, I'm sorry, but you don't deal with anybody that fits into any of these categories. I mean, even work or anything like that.
Besides myself.
Makes sense. See that mirror in the morning, you're like, you son of a.
Every day, man, every day.
Well,
so one thing I noticed, like in the Facebook group that I'm in, and in Facebook groups in general, you know, with all the single people where everyone's ex is a narcissist, it seems like a lot of people attach their identity to that. My ex is a narcissist. This is now who I am, is I'm a victim of narcissism. And I feel like that's honestly people doing a disservice to themselves. I have never, will never say that my ex is a narcissist. I've had other people tell me that, but I'm not ever going to say that. I do think that he has a lot of narcissistic traits. And me learning about narcissism and doing things like gray rocking and parallel parenting have been very helpful in our relationship. But I don't want that to be who I am. I don't want to be a victim of anything. And so I find especially like in the group that I admin, there's so many people that they just can't ever seem to move past that. They're just stuck in victim role. And there's so many times that people will comment on something and I'm like, why does that matter? Like move past that. Like have your own life. And I feel like that's honestly just people doing a disservice to themselves across the board in every group.
Yeah.
Just get over your narcissist and have a good life, because that's going to be the biggest FU to them.
Essentially, if you're in a relationship and you get to the point where you feel like you have to record the conversation between you and your partner just to play it back to them later on, because they're either saying, no, I didn't say that, or you're lying about that, start gaslighting you about things like that, that's when you know you need to start walking away. There was actually a psychologist on YouTube that I was watching. Her name is Dr. Rami Durvasula.
Ramani Durvasula.
Yes. Yeah. Or the way that I pronounced it. But yeah, she's actually
Yep.
really good with what she's talking about. And she classified narcissistic personality disorder as the behavioral health secondhand smoke. There's really nothing good about it in the sense of being around it. It'll always end up poisoning you in the end, regardless of how long you stay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, Brent, I feel like, as you kind of go through this, I don't know if your ex, you seem to have a very level head about kind of the whole situation. And in those moments when you're dating somebody else, everybody wants to know, well, tell me what happened. And 9 times out of 10, the other person was the bad guy, right? So if I'm going out on a date with a girl, tell me what happened. She's going to tell you, well, my ex did X, Y, or Z. And sometimes they're correct. Sometimes they're not, right? Like sometimes their ex was cheating around on them and doing all these things. And the truth doesn't always lie in the middle. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the other person is just a dirtbag. But I feel like this is becoming a growing trend, and finding people to date that have not dated a quote unquote narcissist is becoming extremely difficult. So when you have, when you've been out, how much of this has popped up for you and the dates that you've gone on? And I honestly don't know how serious your dates have been. I don't know how deep you guys get in, like, hey, meet me up for ice cream or whatever. We're going to like talk for 20 minutes and then deuces, we're out, 200 dates seems like a lot of dates. So I don't know how deep.
20 minutes and then take your clothes off.
Well, let me clarify something.
Not all dates are like yours, Whitney. Come on.
Oh.
Alrighty then.
So I think I started writing down all my dates and the girls that I had gone out with, and it's only about 65 to 70 girls. I did, so it's not 200 different girls.
So it's 140 guys?
Yes.
That's
what I feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
No, so I have gone on multiple dates with a lot of the girls as well. So I think we have gotten a little bit deeper into conversations and figured stuff out. And I was joking earlier, it doesn't come up all the time that my ex was a narcissist. It does come up. It's happened. I would disagree with you that it's hard to find somebody that wasn't married to an ex. I don't believe that. I do hear a lot of he cheated on me, whatever. Like I do hear a lot of that. But again, that doesn't make them a narcissist. It just gives them some of those tendencies or attributes. So I don't hear it as much as I was leading on to, but
so tell me a little bit about that. What makes you what's your dating criteria in the sense of it's not 200, so what makes you stop dating somebody?
I guess I'm just looking for that ultimate fit. I'm not looking for perfection, because whenever I say that, like a good connection in multiple ways, as far as physical, mental, emotional, like I'm looking for that perfect fit for me. That doesn't mean I'm looking for perfection, but I'm looking for that perfect one for me, and I'm looking for somebody that is finding the same in me for them, right? Like I don't want anybody to feel like they settled, and I don't want to feel like I've settled. So I kind of joke with some of my good friends and I say there's so many things that are involved in dating that, you know, the sun and the moon and the stars all have to align. And even when they all align, like you still have a 2% chance that it's actually going to work out with that person, because you have schedules and you have kids and you have exes and you have work and you have, you know, all of this other stuff going on, that it's just difficult, especially when you're older, right? Like you have all of these other things. So even if you have the best connection with someone, you may not even be on the same schedule with your kids and you may not ever be able to go out. I've had that before. You know, we just
I feel like
never.
no
were
one
able
is
to
on
date.
my schedule. Like every person I meet, I swear has the opposite kid schedule for me.
Yeah, I went through a run of that too, and now I'm like, I think we switched. Me and my ex, we switched. So now I'm like on the good schedule. Now I'm on the same schedule. So um, that hasn't been as much of an issue lately. But again, that's just one thing, right? Like I've gone out with great girls that they work the night shift or whatever, right? And I work the day. So there's just so many things that have to align in order for it to work out with two people.
Well, and I feel like a lot of those things are an issue in dating, whereas like if you were married and you lived together, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But when you're trying to get to know each other and just dating,
Right.
it just doesn't work.
Yeah. How do you get to know someone if you're not spending time with them?
Yeah. I mean, if you lived together, if your kids were on different schedules, that's not as big of a deal. I mean, you wouldn't have as much as alone time, but you would still be together.
Right.
But if you're trying to go on dates without kids, you just can't.
Yeah.
So how is that with your dating style? Are you okay with setting up the spare room and you know, if she happens to stay a little bit too late, then kind of throw in there and then wake up next day and play
Throw
mom?
her in
I have a
there.
spare room, bro. Why would I throw her in there?
Right.
I will say
Throwing her anywhere. I'm into it.
I'm a super casual dater. Like I have no expectations. I don't set anything in stone. I don't pretend to, you know, like let it happen. That's kind of how I go. I've had people stay over. We've gone out and late to parties, especially like Halloween or whatever, where and they live an hour away. I'm like, I'm not going to make you drive home an hour at 1:00 in the morning. Like I do have an extra bedroom. Come stay here, whatever. Right? Like I literally, and I'm so casual. Like I let anything go. I'm not like stuck up and, oh, that's against my religion. You know, you can't sleep here because, you know, we'd be alone. Like it's none of that stuff. But
so would you say you're pickier now in dating?
So I did go through like the shotgun, you know, dating phase where I was just one of my friends calls it
hoe season. That's called hoe season.
It's called hoe season. Yeah. Yeah. The hoe open season was definitely in effect for a while there. And again, I say I jumped right back into dating because I was ready to date, but I knew I wasn't ready for a relationship.
Okay.
And I was open with that, right? Like, hey, I've only been married for 3 months, you know, this 6 months ago. I've only been divorced for 3 months. So I'm not ready for a relationship, but I'm looking for something serious. I'm not just looking for a hookup, but let's go have fun and let's see like what happens. You know, I'm not going to get married within a year. I'm not going to set a timetable around anything. Let's just see what happens. So
I'm really curious, what was your experience with that? Because I'm the same way, like, and I was very upfront with everyone, like, hey, I'm not ready for a relationship, but I'm like dating to meet people and to make friends. And I got a lot of guys that were straight up pissed about it. I had a guy honestly yell at me before we even went on a date because I said that I wasn't interested in a relationship. And he was like, well, I don't want to take you on a date if you're not going to be my girlfriend. And I was like, how do I know if I want to be your girlfriend if we don't even go on a date, if I've never met you? And he yelled at me. So I'm curious if you had any similar experience or pushback from ladies.
It's kind of been all over the board, like, especially, so I started dating before I was actually divorced, right? So we were separated, but we weren't divorced yet. And yeah, is that a no-no?
Taboo.
Yeah, sorry about that. But, you know, again, I was upfront with it and I was honest and I was like, hey, I'm separated. I'm going through divorce. The papers are submitted to the courts. I have no idea when they're going to be signed. And some girls flat out were like, you know what? I won't even go out with you unless you've been divorced for a year. Yeah. You know, because they don't want to jump into anything with you because they know you're not ready. And I was okay with that. Like, that's fine. Not that I was asking for them to marry me, but I just wanted to go on a date, right? And some girls were absolutely against it, which is fine. And then there were other girls that were like, thanks for telling me. I know where you stand. I know you're probably not going to be ready to get into a relationship, but yeah, let's go date. Let's go have fun. Let's see where it goes. I actually dated a girl who we really hit it off, and I feel bad because I wasn't in that. So I think she's been divorced 5 years or so. And we ended up not dating any longer because I wasn't ready to take that next step. I was scared. I was avoiding that next step, even though I knew we both had feelings for each other. And it ultimately, caused a lot of pain. And 3 or 4 months after that, I'm kind of now into that phase of, okay, now I want to get into something serious. I've been the hoe. I've done the hoe phase.
Hey, Brent, sorry.
We lost your sound.
We lost
Yeah.
your mic.
Try that. Holy crap. Okay, one person unmute him.
There we go. Someone muted me. Who muted me?
Yeah.
I
Not I.
So anyways, a few months after that, I reached back out to her and was like, hey, I want something serious now. And she's like, I just spent 3 months getting over you, dude. Like, I've moved on. And I'm like, oh, and that kind of sucked because I really do have like feelings for her. So there's pros and cons to dating right after divorce, right? Like, you have to get out there and have experience, and you want to date as many people as you can. That's probably not the right way to say it, but get the experience of dating to figure out what you want, what you're looking for. But there's going to be some heartache on both sides, when you take that approach. And that's why some of those girls are like, you know what, I won't even go out with you until you've been divorced a year, because I don't want to get heartbroken.
Well, let me ask you this. With your experience with dating, what type of horror stories do you have?
That's funny you bring that up, Nick, because we're actually starting a podcast. It's called Tales of Fails, and it's going to launch in February. And it's all going to be about dating fails, because I have about 200 of them. And we're basically just going to share our stories. We're going to bring.
Wait, you went on 200 dates. You had 200 fails. Every date was a failure.
Well, I'm still single.
Sure. I'm still single. I don't consider my dates a fail. I consider that a win.
Fair. That's fair. But I have quite a few failed dates that are pretty funny. So there's a lot of funny stories out there. And my co-host, Tiana, we're basically just going to share our stories and bring people on to share their stories. And we started a Facebook page, so you guys can look it up, Tales of Fails. And we're just going to go on and tell our stories. And I'm sure everybody has those stories, right?
Absolutely.
I have some funny ones. Give me a topic and I'll tell you a funny story, a funny dating story.
Narcissism.
Besides that one. I like to hide.
I don't feel like I've ever had a bad date.
Really? You've never had a bad date?
I don't think so.
There was one date where she had like pay for one guy, like the entire.
And he threw it in the garbage.
Threw the drinks that she bought in the.
I was like, oh, that's one of my favorite ones. Trash.
And he just looked right at her and was like, "That one."
Shut up. He did not.
He did.
See, I feel like Whitney just lied. I feel like Whitney's never had a good date. All of her dates were bad.
Maybe that's the case. Maybe I haven't had a good date, so I just think that they're all fine.
Know what the bad ones are,
But they're
because
not.
compared to.
That one was great. I love that date. She gets back. She's blocked across all social media from there.
No, I honestly,
Not sure
I
they
feel like
share that sentiment.
I'm doing dating wrong. Like, I've never been catfished. I've never been ghosted. I've never got an unsolicited penis portrait.
Unsolicited.
I feel like I've never had a bad date. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm not getting the full experience because I'm just meeting a lot of nice guys. Maybe they're not the guy for me, but they're nice guys and we're still friends and we have fun when we go together. And
What
then
about,
that's it.
what about
You're-
catfish? Have you been catfish, Brent?
Have I been catfished?
Yes.
Oh, let me think. I mean, just the obvious Tinder stuff, right? Like swipe right on this hot girl. She doesn't end up being hot. There was actually one girl, I thought I was going to get killed when I showed up to pick her up.
What's her
it
name?
me?
Whitney?
Her name was Whitney. She had a taser and handcuffs. I don't know what that was all about.
It wasn't me because you would not be picking me up.
No,
I might be
you'd
crazy, but I'm not an idiot.
See, that was like a red flag to me, right? So this girl, the dating sites tell you where your location is. And when you move and you open the app, it updates your location on some of these apps.
Right.
So it also tells you where you're from, and where she was from and where she was not matching with the address she gave me. So I'm like, she's sending me to some random place where I'm going to get killed. And of course, that night I have a concealed carry permit, so I carry a lot in my car. And of course, that night I didn't have my gun with me. And I literally texted my friend before I walked to the door and was like, I'm at this address. If I disappear, come find me, because I was worried that I was going to get killed. She ended up being a really nice girl, actually, but I thought I was going to get catfished because like that's how gorgeous she was in her profile picture, at least.
Oh, so it was me then.
It was you for sure, Whitney.
Just to jump in here really quick, there's a few people who don't know what catfishing is. So basically it's setting up a fake profile online and using somebody else's pictures or whatever. Like, Nick sets up a profile using some hot girl's picture and starts hitting on guys to like, I don't know, whatever Nick wants to do.
I've done this.
It's a fake
I've been
profile.
a catfish before. I used a picture of a guy. He's probably a scammer, but I think we're in love at this point. But one of my friends, that's a guy, was like, hey, I think my girlfriend is on this dating website. Are you on it? And I was like, first of all, I'm not on it, but also like, I'm a girl. So if she's a girl, I wouldn't see her. Yeah. So I was like, I'm on it. I got it. So I made a fake profile as a man to see if she was on there, and she wasn't.
Did you lure anybody to your apartment?
No, I didn't. But I did go through and like every girl's picture because I was like, I wanted to feel loved. And then I deleted.
How many messages did you get? How many messages did you get from all those guys?
No, I just went through and liked every girl's picture, and then I deleted the profile and I never saw it. So maybe that was not nice, but I was like, I just wanted to feel like somebody likes them.
Wow.
That's funny.
But Brent, realistically, I mean, obviously you're out there dating again and you're kind of getting back on the horse a little bit.
Yeah.
If you had to kind of put together your perfect scenario, when do you see yourself getting married again? Are you going to give it some time? Are you looking to, if the right person came along tomorrow, do you think you'd be ready to jump in and get serious?
I don't know. Like it's so hard to say. Like it's something that I want for sure, but I don't want it with the wrong person again.
Do you feel ready for it though, if the right person came along?
It's hard to say. Like, I think so, but I also thought I was 6 months ago and I wasn't. So it's really hard to say.
You're barely divorced though.
Yeah, I guess not 6 months ago, but in the end of August when that girl that I was telling you about, we kind of went our separate ways. I wasn't ready.
I feel like it's hard to know if you're ready for a relationship until that opportunity is presented to you. And then maybe some of those things that you weren't so aware of when you were by yourself, suddenly you're like, oh yeah, this is a thing for me.
I think I'm in a position, mentally, spiritually, whatever, where yes, I could jump into a serious relationship. I don't feel like there's still things that are unresolved from my past, unresolved from my divorce. Like I said, I've continued doing counseling even throughout. So I've learned a lot about myself and about relationships. I don't feel like I'm in a position where I'm not ready.
So do you go counseling every week then?
About once a month.
About once a month?
Yeah. It was more consistent when I was going through the divorce. I needed, just that outlet, sounding board, advice, more often. But again, like the further away I get and the more I process through some of those things, I feel more healthy and we've kind of spread them out a little bit more. So it's about every month to every 6 weeks now. But it's something that I'll always do. And again, this is kind of a mindset change for me, where before I was totally against it. And yeah, if you went to a counselor, you were crazy. Where now I feel like everyone, regardless of whether you're in a relationship or not, you should be going to counseling just to learn more about yourself and more about relationships and people in general.
Amen.
So it's something that I've really grasped and embraced in my own life to just make myself a better person so that I am ready when that right person comes along.
Brent, what do you think about people that have never been married, don't have kids? Do you have feelings on that either way? Do you feel like they wouldn't really understand your life and your experience, or?
Again, I'm not trying to limit who I'm going to accept into my life, right? Like every situation is different. And just because they don't have kids doesn't mean they couldn't be a good stepmom. Or is that what you were asking? Is if I would date somebody that didn't have kids? Yeah. I'm not going to limit myself to any of that. I'm not going to say this type of person isn't going to be a good fit for me. I do think there is some truth to that where I've heard that a lot from women as well that I've dated. They say, yeah, I went out with this guy. He never had kids and he's never been married. There's no way he's ever going to be a good dad. I don't know that that's true, but I hear it a lot.
I've seen the same post in multiple groups lately. They're mostly like women's groups, singles groups, but saying something about if you found this guy who's like in your age range, super, super hot, but he's never been married, he doesn't have kids, what's your first thought? And the comments on those posts were like ridiculous. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, red flag, no chance, no way. And I was like, seriously, that's your first thought? I'd be like, oh, he's cute. Like, that's my first thought. Why is it automatically like, obviously something's wrong with him? And I would assume it's going to be the same way for women. Everybody just assumes like, oh yeah, they're a narcissist. If he's hot and he's mid-30s, he's a narcissist. Like, no, that doesn't automatically mean that something is wrong with that person. I think honestly, the comments amazed me.
Yeah. I think the issue that I've run into the most is with younger girls that I've dated that haven't had children. They want to have children and I can't. So I can't do that for them. I had a vasectomy 3 or 4 years ago when Sarah and I thought we were done, right?
Would you have a reverse vasectomy done for somebody?
Possibly for the right person.
Wait. First of all, how old are you right now?
I'm 41.
Okay, so you still got a little bit of gas left in the tank, but at some point it kind of gets harder and harder thinking like, man, those late nights with kids. I mean, all of us that have had kids, if I could skip like forward a couple of years and just actually be able to sleep and function properly, I'm not young like I used to be where I can function on 5 hours of sleep and go to work and be like, okay. I mean, I feel like I got low-grade narcolepsy now. I'm tired.
I function on like 3 hours of sleep every night.
That's because you're a mom, right?
Probably what's wrong with me.
Yeah. And how old are you, Whitney?
33.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the issue that I run into more is those girls want to still have kids and I just can't do that. So that ends up being a deal breaker for them.
So this is unrelated to the question, but one thing I have noticed a lot, and actually I'm curious to get your guys' opinion on this as men. I feel like I've met so many men that brag about the fact that they can't have kids. Like I bet I can tell you every single man that I've met in the past 2 years, I bet I can tell you whether or not he's had a vasectomy, not from me asking, because I ask weird questions, but I've never asked that. I feel like guys brag about it all the time.
There's no risk of you getting pregnant. So
I mean, there's also
we can totally
we're not gonna have sex, but
we can mess around and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I find that to be an odd thing to brag about, but it happens a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's on my dating profile. You obviously haven't come across it. It's like
I have not. Here's the thing. I set my distance to 69 miles. I don't think there's even another town within 69 miles of my town. So I don't see a lot of people.
Really, that's a really weird number.
I wonder why you would choose that number.
I don't know.
It's working for you though, because you haven't had a bad date. I am going to update my range to 69 miles.
You would probably get a lot more people popping up than I do.
Wait, where do you live?
I live in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Oh.
So there's nothing within 2 hours of me in any direction.
Yeah. Yeah, you're kind of out there.
Boo-hoo. Try living in Washington, Whitney. You at least are like a drive away from Salt Lake and what we here usually call dating Mecca. I mean, poor Nick, he's practically like on the moon out there. So
I am 3 hours to Salt Lake. I've driven down to Utah for dates many times. I've driven to Washington for dates. Nobody drives here though.
Yet.
Yeah. Yep.
I actually don't like people to come here though.
What was the longest you drove for a date?
No, I will.
I drove 6 hours to Wyoming for like one person. I try to, if I'm going to drive somewhere, I try to like set up a few things. Actually, just recently I did this. I went to Utah and somebody accused me of being a conference dater, which I had not heard before. But and I was like, what is that? They're like, like a morning and an afternoon session. And I was like, no, not usually, but if I'm going to drive to Utah, like I'm going to make it worth my time. So I did drive to Arizona once for a couple dates, but I set up a few things for that.
Wow, that's a long drive. We call that double stacking, Whitney.
Double
If you
stacking?
double stack your dates. Yeah.
That sounds dirty.
I've been triple stacked. I was the third
snap.
date.
Were you the middle?
I was the end. I was the third date in
the top or bottom
date for a girl.
You were the third one, so you were the bottom.
I was the bottom. Yeah.
You seem like a bottom.
Oh my goodness.
Sure, you want to go on this, Brent? You can still ditch and just be like, Whitney, sorry, man, change of plans.
Hey, I've never been stood up before.
Okay, so here's a question for you, Brent. You're in the dating mecca. You've got tons of people that are single, living in Utah. Let's just say that you're in the school of fish right now. What do you think about the people that are outside of Utah? Have you looked at them? Have you given them a time of day? Are you interested in doing long distance relationship with so much booty around you that you really don't need to?
I've been open to that. It all just comes down to the ability to travel and spend time with that person. So a lot of times, how do you get to know somebody if you're not hanging out? If you're, you can do the FaceTime thing, you can do whatever. It's not the same. It's hard. I actually dated a girl that came into town for Thanksgiving. She's from Florida. I swear, as soon as she landed, she came in my range and I swiped on her and we matched and we talked and then we ended up going out a couple times and then she flew back to Florida and then it fell apart. Story of my life. Yeah.
Wow.
I agree with that though. I feel like, how do you know how someone would fit into your everyday life if they're not in your everyday life? If anytime you're together, it's because you're traveling and it's like vacation, like you're not going to know how it is, just everyday crap that you got to go through. Because being in person is different from on the phone. You can talk to someone on the phone all day and it's not the same.
Yeah. Tiana, my friend, told me that for a long distance relationship to work, like there has to be an end goal or a long-term plan for one of you to move, like to be together, right? Like unless there's that, at least, like why even try? I'm not going to move because my kids are here and they're going to school and my youngest is 7. So I've got 11 more years where I want to be here with him.
Well, my kids are here and they're going to school and my youngest is 5. So beat that.
Yeah. So neither one of us are going to move like for 12 years.
Yeah, well,
so
my youngest is 4 and
well, technically my youngest is 4.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about you, Nick. This is our date.
I would still drive up to see you though, Whitney. Just
no, actually I could. I haven't talked to my children's dad, but I think I could move, but I'm not going to just do that for anybody.
Yeah.
Brent, how far are you away from Twin Falls?
3 hours.
No, that's Salt Lake. So are you in Salt Lake, Brent? I don't know.
South Jordan, which is south of Salt Lake, but it's 3 hours.
It's 5 minutes, 10 minutes south.
Okay.
It's all the same.
Close enough for a booty call. So Whitney, what are you complaining about?
I'm not. I just said I could move. I just said I could move.
Wow.
You don't even have to move. We're talking weekend warriors here. You just go.
Honestly, we could just meet, like in Tremont and Snowville, like at the gas station.
Or the hot springs.
Ooh.
I like the way you think, Nick.
Is there hot springs up through there? I don't think there is.
There's a Crystal Hot Springs in Brigham City, which is like an hour and 45 minutes from you.
And it's awesome.
It is fun. That's a good one.
I will say I did live in North Ogden for a while, which is near Eden, and I loved it. And I would move back there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's a good area.
Still, when I drive to Utah, like I get up to there, like right where it comes around the mountain, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm home. And I haven't lived there for a long time.
I have not driven 10 hours to go on a date, just to be clear. I think like 3.5 hours.
Are you even dating then?
I mean, I am, but I'm in the booty capital of the world, is what Nick said. What did you call it?
Why would he need to?
Mormon booty
The
capital.
sea of booties. What did you call
Dating
it?
Mecca.
The Mormon booty capital of the world. That's right.
I heard sea of fish and booty, sea booty.
Yeah.
So what do you do, like as far as meeting people? Do you just the apps? Do you go to like activities? I know in Utah they do a lot of singles stuff.
They do. It's tons. I've had a lot of bad experiences with like group events, but
Ooh.
I still try to.
So when you say like group events, you're so casual about it. I
Orgies.
mean, that's what we
Not
call
orgies.
orgies. Does that mean that you're more of like the corner guy? Just
If
kind
I
of
was cool enough to be in an
everybody-
orgy, I would just be like, I've had bad experiences at orgies, but
Yeah,
I've
he's
never
the
had
bottom,
one.
remember? What kind of experiences have you had? I've been to one mid-singles dance and I was like, never again. Never.
Yeah, I haven't done any of those. There's a lot of different groups here, and some of them are LDS, most of them are not. And so I don't limit myself to one or the other. I kind of just go where the people are and what I think sounds fun. I like to get out. Like we did a hike yesterday, and there was like 40 people in our group, and there were 3 other groups kind of doing the same type of hike in the same area. There's just a lot of different groups that like to do stuff outdoors. So I pick and choose like where I want to go or which group I go with based on the activity. The one bad experience was I was actually on a date with a girl and we went to a group activity, and basically we shouldn't have gone together because she was getting numbers and taking selfies with guys and holding their hands. And like, then I was like, yeah, I know we're not dating. Like we're not together. We're not exclusive, but we're here on a date. And I thought
Are
that
you
was
guys in middle school?
Yeah. So just stuff like that where I'm like, okay, I don't really love going to those group events, but it's fun to go meet new people and stuff. I try not to go with the insight of, hey, I'm going to go find a date. I just go to have fun and like meet new people. And if somebody is cool there, then we'll set something up for later. But I do a lot of Facebook. I find cute girls and I look and see if they're single and I add them as friends and try to chat with them. Stuff like that.
Added me as a
You
friend.
just add them as friends. You don't have like a conversation with them in the beginning in a group to be non-confrontational, and then after a couple exchanges, then you go ahead and you add them, and then you can send them. You don't follow that whole. Women are complaining about guys like you.
As soon as they accept my friend request, I send them a dick pic. And if
Here's
they're-
the thing, Nicholas.
That makes sense.
Those rules do not apply to attractive people. Everybody knows that. If the girl thinks he's cute, she doesn't care about that. If she doesn't think he's cute, then she's like, no, don't do it.
That's the thing is like, that's kind of my philosophy. If she thinks I'm cute, she'll accept me as a friend. I'm not going to be a jerk, and I'm going to be a gentleman, and I'm going to reach out and say, hi, thanks for the friend
Sure.
request.
I mean, if you're
So
gonna
you
send
never
a
sent me a friend request or a message.
smiley
So
face
you don't
on it
think
and
I'm cute?
everything.
Because you live out of my range, Whitney.
Oh, so you also
69
take
miles.
they live. I see.
You live 69 plus miles from me. So
Yeah, it's more than that.
that's why I said plus.
Okay, so one more question about dating preferences and remarriage.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on a prenup? I've talked to a few people about this, and I feel like people are strongly one way or the other. So I'm always curious.
I think I would be more comfortable doing one, just with everything that I have going on. And it's not like I make a ton of money or anything, but just I have 5 businesses and I'm starting a 6th in February. So there's a lot more to consider there than, because my ex just walked away with 50% and she never had a job.
Mhm.
So I'm a little bit bitter about that. Again, it's fair. Like we built that together. I totally get that side of it. It does sting a little bit, and going into another relationship thinking, okay, we could be married 6 months and she could walk away with half of everything I have. Like that doesn't seem fair to me. So at this point, when I previously got married, I didn't have much, so it didn't matter at that point because we did build all that together. So 50% after 12 years, I think is fair. At this point, I have a little bit more to risk. So I would say yes to a prenup, but it's not like a hard yes. It's so just kind of a preference. I have thought about it.
You have thought about it?
I've thought about it, yeah.
I would agree.
Unless she makes more money than me, then it's an absolute no.
Oh, I guess we're out then.
No,
No, I feel like a prenup makes sense. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and a lot of people are so anti. And they feel like if you're saying like we're gonna have a prenup, that's like you're already destining that to fail.
You're already setting up. You're setting us up for failure.
setting
Yeah.
up your walls already. Yeah.
Which is
I can see that
definitely
side of it,
not the
yeah.
case. I feel like, I mean, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of stuff, but like I have kids. And if something happened, I never planned to get divorced the first time. If something happened again, like I want my stuff to come with me to go to my kids. Like I want them to be taken care of. And I want the same for your kids.
Yeah.
Or so I feel like I don't know. I don't understand the people that are so anti.
So the way that I look at the prenup is the simple fact of I got married the first time and I got married the second time, not with the idea that I would ever be walking away or
Right.
that I would ever be walked away from.
Mm-hmm.
But now, having lost everything twice, yes, a prenup makes sense. Why would I not protect myself? Not from you or me, but from the future you or me that we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the person that you divorce is not the person that you marry ever.
Yeah, there's also ways you can set up the prenup. It doesn't have to be everything that I walk into this relationship is mine, everything is yours. You can set it up to where it's like, hey, if it doesn't end up working out, you'll still be taken care of, but you're not going to get half or whatever, right? There's other things you can do to show you still care about that person. It's not all about the money and all about the possessions.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it's about risk management. You got to think about your kids, like Whitney said. You got to think about your family and things. You got to think about those other things, not just that one. So,
Listen,
So
when
then,
you can get my seashell collection.
I don't want that crap.
so then along those lines, have
Want your
you
Ferrari.
dated anybody that, you've run into and they say, well, I'm getting like X amount of dollars in alimony and so much in child support and et cetera, and you're just like massive turnoff. Have you ever run into that in any of
no,
your?
I'm like, where are we going on vacation? That's what I say.
Okay. So I knew somebody who, she basically was like, all right, I'm going on vacation again. My ex has a lot of money. He had a porn addiction. That's why we got divorced. And so anytime I need more money, I just go and take him back to court. And that was like, in her mind, it was like kind of the well, she just kept going back to the well to get more money. And at some point, obviously the courts have calculators that kind of limit how much you can do on things like that. But I think I'm trying to remember if her strategy was just simply like, we can go to court and fight it out, and that's going to be expensive, or you can just give me some money. And then, it's going to be cheaper than fighting it out. And, I've run into that before. And to me, more so than whether or not they would sign a prenup, I kind of look at them and think, would this person be the type of person that would just essentially like look at me as a paycheck? Because I feel like that's kind of a way, like my ex sort of looks at that in a way now, just like, well, I can just get more money out of you. Like, if you have any sort of like increase in salary with work or something, she's like, oh, well, I deserve half of that. How can you afford to do this? Like, I feel like I have to show her that I live like a pauper, or else in her mind, she deserves more. Like, she just has that kind of ingrained. I've run into that quite a bit. So
yeah, I think those scenarios are a little bit different than what I was imagining. Like if they're getting alimony and because that's the way it was set up, like it is what it is, right? I've had girls
Does the
say,
alimony go away when you get remarried though?
yeah, it does.
I don't know, because I don't have it, but I thought
It does. And I've had girls say I'm not getting remarried for a while because I get a lot of alimony. Like I've had that.
Yeah.
But that's not a red flag for you.
I think that's different. I don't know. Like every scenario is different. I think that's different than, hey, I take my husband back to court every time I want more. That's a bigger red flag to me than, well, I'm kind of just, I'm taking what was given to me in the divorce. Not that I want more, but I'm going to take advantage of what I'm getting. I don't know.
So I don't think there's necessarily a problem with alimony, but what I do feel like, and this is my own personal opinion, so, again, take it for what it's worth. And this maybe is me projecting a little bit of my own experiences onto the situation, but I've known too often people who just sort of look at it like, I have a relationship, a marriage. I've got two choices because things are bad right now. One, I can walk away and I can collect a check, or two, I can work on it and it's going to be really hard. And I feel like all too often there's sort of just a means to just kind of like this expectation of like, well, I'm going to walk away You're going to pay for the kids. You're going to pay for this. And I know people who literally have just been like, after child support and alimony, I have $200 to my name each month. I can't even live. And I do know people that the judge has been like, all right, well, either you pay it or you go to jail.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets to a point of just, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't understand that. And I know people who would more than happily bury their ex financially out of spite, right? Out of like fear and anger or something. So to me, when I run up into that situation and I see somebody who, okay, if they're getting alimony and child support, okay, cool, whatever, you know, but it's kind of the mentality behind it. If they're kind of just like, yep, screw them, I'm going to like stick it to them and I'm going to keep going back for more and digging into that well because I can.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I was fortunate. My ex her family has money, so she waived the alimony for me because she didn't need it.
Does Utah do alimony?
Mm-hmm.
Idaho does not.
Yeah, I would have been in that same scenario, Everett, where I don't think I would have been able to afford a house if she would have not waived alimony. But she accepted the child support, and I was, more than willing to pay that, obviously for our kids, stuff like that. She got 50% of all of our assets, but because she gets a trust from her family, she knew she didn't need the alimony, so she waived it. So those are the types of girls you want to find that are not just in it for the money. Yeah, they'll take advantage of what they can or what is, fair, but they're not just in it just for the money.
See, to me, if I ran into a situation like you did and some girl said, I just don't want to get married because I've got alimony for the next 3.5 years and I don't want to cut that stream off. And I'm just like, okay, what's more important to you, right? Are you looking for a relationship or is this just about collecting money? That would freak me out to get into a serious relationship with somebody like that. Because I know if things went south, it would be my turn on the other end of that.
Yeah, the only women that I've heard even say that, and I don't even know if they were joking or not. I mean, they're collecting $10,000+ a month.
Where are their ex-husbands, and can I be the next ex-wife?
Yeah, they're in some of the wealthier areas in Utah. But I've also had the opposite, where I've dated a girl seriously, and she said, yes, I do get alimony, and it's this much money a month, but that's not what it's about. I'm willing to give that up to get married. So I've seen both. It's not all or nothing.
My goal in life is to not need his child support at all.
Yeah.
I want to make way more money than him. Screw him.
Yeah. I do think it's important. I mean, I have a friend that they've discussed divorce, and I truly hope it doesn't happen because I love he and his wife together. I think she needs to whoop his butt because he's kind of an idiot sometimes. And I tell him that, but, his comment is, if we get divorced, I'm not paying child support. I don't agree with that either. I think that there's definitely, I've seen some comments about stay-at-home moms. I think there is definitely a situation where, to me, as a single dad at times, that's hard work. I would much rather, to me, it almost feels like reprieve when I can go to work during the day. And so I definitely feel like that is of value and important, and something that should be taken into consideration. It's those that abuse the system and are kind of always looking to double dip. That's where I have a problem. And if somebody doesn't want to pay child support and take care of their own kids, then I have a real issue with that as well. My kids will always be taken care of. The problem with my ex is I have to kind of cut it. And, if there's ever a time where I'd like to give extra to the kids, it's one of those things, if you gave an inch, they would expect a mile and it still wouldn't be good enough. So, to me, when we talk about prenups and everything else, I think it starts way before that. I start screening and looking at kind of how things went down with the last relationship. And man, I get freaked out sometimes when I hear some of these well, they owe me this type of money and I don't care if they have $200 a month to live. Okay, I understand that there is kind of a price that needs to be paid, especially for your kids and things of that nature. But when you're making $2,500, $3,500 a month in alimony, and they have $200 a month in alimony and money to live off of, that seems to be a little bit of an imbalance.
Yeah.
So that
Those
just
girls are narcissists, Everett.
right. Let's start checking off some of these, see how many of the lists that they fit.
All right, Brent, we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of changing topics here. We're gonna do a game, okay? And so for those of you that are in the audience tonight, go ahead and bring out a pencil and paper, and we're going to do a would you rather. It's gonna be on the adult side of things. It'll be kind of fun, and we're gonna be doing 20 questions.
Am I answering these?
You are
Yes,
gonna
sir.
be answering these, yes. And what the people in the audience are going to do is they're going to write them down on a piece of paper. Just kind of number them out 1 through 20, and you can guess what Brent is going to say.
Do I need to write these down then?
Yeah. So we know you're not lying.
Okay.
You should probably write down yours. Yeah.
Okay. I'm writing them down.
Yep. So we're doing 1 through 20.
We don't want you changing your answers.
Okay. I will prove to you my answers right here. Okay, let's do this.
So I'm gonna bring up my paper here. All right. Question number 1. Would you rather be in a loveless marriage or a sexless marriage?
So I don't answer right now,
You
right?
don't answer right now. No.
You write it down and we have to guess what you say.
Question number 2. Would you rather be in a committed relationship or be friends with benefits?
I don't know. Is your hoe phase over? I think you said it was.
That's for you to find out. When, you're done.
Question number 3.
When I come to Twin Falls, you'll find out.
I'm an eternal hoe phase.
Would you rather have a one-night stand with a stranger or your platonic best friend?
Have a one-night stand with your platonic best friend?
Yes.
Okay.
One-night stand with a stranger or with your platonic best friend?
Ooh.
Do you guys even know who my platonic best friend is?
Is it the girl you're doing the podcast with?
Maybe.
Your business partner, right?
Maybe.
Her name's Sarah with a T, I think.
Question number 4.
Soon to be Whitney.
Would you rather have sex in public or in a secret hiding place?
Secret hiding place. That sounds fun.
Right?
Is the secret hiding place in public?
Question number 5. Would you rather have a lackluster proposal in bed or no proposal at all?
Like marriage proposal?
Yeah, what kind of proposal are we talking
Wait,
about?
am I proposing or am I being proposed to?
I mean, are we talking about like, hey, I propose that we get pizza tonight, or are we talking
Yeah, I
like,
don't.
I propose that we
Or is this like I propose that we have sex right now?
That's
what
what
kind
I
of
was thinking.
proposal? Whitney's proposal will be like, I propose that I tase you right now, but
No, actually, it sounds like this is. So, are we doing this thing or what? That's what it sounds like.
It sounds
so romantic. Are we doing this or what?
Yeah, I'm romantic.
yes. So basically just a proposal in bed or no proposal at all.
I don't think that answered the question.
You're lying down next to them in bed. You either
Hey, but like what? Like a marriage
doing
proposal?
something.
You're
Yeah.
talking marriage proposal. And am I proposing or are they?
You're
You can set the rules on this, Nick. You make the call since you're running the game. Marriage proposal or what kind of proposal?
It's a marriage proposal.
Okay, marriage proposal.
Marriage proposal in bed or no marriage proposal at all.
It's a dumb question.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
Okay,
in bed, the
next.
answer is obviously yes.
Number 6.
Would you rather accidentally send nudes to a stranger or send nudes to your parents on accident?
Ooh. The question on this is with face or without face? Like,
Oh, that is rule number 1. Face or body, never both. You cannot be sending nudes if you don't know rule number 1.
Yeah, I should have just asked Whitney. I should have known. She did.
Listen, here's a funny
Listen,
story. I
rule.
recently found out that someone has been sending me nude pictures for 2 weeks, every single day, one a day. They were opened, never responded. It wasn't me. They were sending them to somebody else. And they were like, didn't like I've been sending pictures. I was like, I never got any pictures.
That's funny.
Next thing you know, his boss keeps on looking at him.
They're like, I don't know any other Whitneys. And I was like, yeah, I never got any. You didn't like ask why I didn't respond?
All right.
You
Number
were
7.
responding though, apparently.
Would you rather make out with someone at a nightclub or make out with someone at a funeral? I mean, you know what Will Ferrell said about funerals.
No.
Chicks there are crazy horny. Grief is nature's most powerful aphrodisiac, my friend.
I've never been crazy horny at a funeral, so that seems weird.
Number 8. Would you rather be surprised in bed by something or always know what's going to come?
By something. Always know who's going to come?
Number 9. Would you rather be naked or wear full coverage underwear?
Is that like one of those full sleeves and ankles and?
No. That's just
Like
like
a onesie?
it covers your privates all the way.
So, like what? Like 24/7?
That's like all underwear, Nick. That
Like
makes
in a nightclub or at a funeral?
Yeah, fully clothed, like wearing underwear or nude.
Like all the time. You're either always naked or you're always in like long johns or what?
At a nightclub. We're just adding at a nightclub to that.
I thought you were supposed to add in bed. These are weird questions, Nick. Okay, fully naked or long johns. Okay.
Where'd you find these questions, Nick? Okay.
These are his dating questions. These are his first date.
Don't judge me.
This is
Don't
his
judge me.
girlfriend application.
Number 10. Would you rather get nudes or send nudes?
Okay. I feel like this would depend on if you were a girl or a guy. But since we're answering for Brent,
Whitney, I'm a guy, just so you know. Just to be clear.
I mean, you're also a bottom, so maybe you like to receive.
Number 11. Would you rather wear comfortable clothes to bed or sexy clothes to bed?
I feel like you think you know me, Whitney. Just
Unless
based on-
you already answered that you like being naked in bed.
Okay, that's kind of a weird question to ask to Brent. Like, hey, Brent, do you wear sexy clothes to bed?
It's
Like,
not the
that's
first
not
time
like
he's
a
asked me
dude
that,
thing,
though.
you
That's
know?
the thing.
What are sexy clothes for men? Just like silky boxers?
Banana hammocks? I don't know.
Just wait till our first date, Whitney.
Okay,
got
will you
pizza
be
all
wearing
these
a banana hammock on our first date?
Dude, do it. Do it.
I guess you'll find out based on how I answer this question.
I guess so.
Would you rather be
Assless chaps.
financially satisfied or sexually satisfied?
Say that one again.
Number 12. Would you rather be financially satisfied or sexually satisfied?
Financially, then you can buy sex. So
Oh, chisel.
Goodness. Number 13. Would you rather have a quickie or an all-night escapade? Number 14. Would you rather be hated by everyone but me?
you specifically?
Whatever option.
Let's rephrase that one. Would you rather be hated by everyone but your lover, or loved by everyone but your lover?
Wait, what?
Wait, are we you or my lover?
Your significant other.
Nick is your lover.
Read that one again. Read that again.
Okay. Would you rather be hated by everyone but your lover, or loved by everyone but your lover?
But you hate. Hmm.
Okay, number 15. Would you rather accidentally scream the wrong name in bed or have your partner accidentally scream the wrong name in bed?
I mean, this happens really often. So
What's up with me?
Hopefully you're not screaming Nick. That's the real.
My problem is I keep on.
Real question: do people really scream people's names? Because like, what name is even sexy to scream? I feel like every name is like awkward.
It was really weird. My ex-girlfriend was deaf, and so every time she screamed my name, I couldn't really tell if it was my name or somebody else's name, and it was just like.
I thought you guys were supposed to be good at reading lips, though.
I think
I-
her lips were busy.
Face down.
It must have been dark.
Number 16. Would you rather walk in on your parents having sex or have your parents walk in on you having sex? I'd rather walk in on my parents.
You already have, you sicko.
Not how you do it, Dad.
Would you rather throw up on your right leg or your left leg? I mean, potato.
Well, here's one for you. I think Whitney already knows the answer. Number 17. Would you rather be on top or on bottom?
I'm going to get 100%. I already know all the answers.
Number 18. Would you rather the person that you're interested in be flirty or funny?
Oh, crap. I'm both of those. This is a tough one.
Number 19. Would you rather have your hair pulled or your butt smacked?
If you answer yes to either of those, Brent, turn in your man card now. It's over.
These are.
How do you pick one of those, though?
Yeah, what do you do?
Really?
I mean,
Okay, last one.
I knew my answer right away. I don't know why you guys didn't.
I already wrote it down.
Okay, and number 20. Oh, that's really gay. Hold on a second. I'm going to find a different one for number 20.
And the rest of these weren't?
Shut up.
All right.
Nick has asked some of these questions before. David.
Yeah,
Apparently
sorry, you're not special.
There we go.
I hear that a lot. Nick must be a freak.
Come on, Nick, last one. Hurry
Last
so we can
one.
see that I
Would
got
you-
them all
would you
right.
rather- calm yourself. Thank you.
I'm never calm.
Let's
Would
open.
you rather you let your spouse date your best friend or your arch enemy?
Why?
I don't have a spouse, so did you say
I
ex-spouse?
thought you did.
Your ex-spouse.
I don't like that question. Let's open it to the audience. First person to put a question in there. Let's do that one.
Ready, go.
Would you rather? Would you rather? Come on, someone's got
I
something.
like this one. Would you rather have car sex or shower sex?
Was that yours or the food one? What's the food one?
Can we talk about that question? Because I feel like I've met a surprising number of men that are anti-shower sex, which I never knew. Like, why are people so against it?
Question
didn't
number
know it was
20.
that.
Shower sex or car sex?
Is that the one we're going with?
Excuse me, Brent, how tall are you?
6'2".
Okay.
With
Would
my
you
nails.
rather have? Okay.
Okay. Let's go ahead and
Would I
take
rather have car sex or shower sex?
And
I don't know the answer. Okay, I'm ready. What are we doing here? What does the winner get? Are we like tallying our results or what?
Just to be the winner. That's all.
Just to be the winner? Just the
Okay.
satisfaction? They don't
Yeah.
get to go on a date with you or anything?
Yeah, there's no prizes. Sorry.
all right, here we go.
I was hoping I was going to win, but
Number 1. Would you rather
Whoever you match with the most, anyone in this whole room, whoever has the highest match, you get a date with them. Girl or guy, doesn't matter.
I'm in. Be honest, everyone.
All right. Number 1. Would you rather be in a loveless marriage or a sexless marriage?
Sexless, unfortunately. I mean, neither really, but if I had to choose, I would rather have
I was
love.
already in both. I would choose love.
Wow.
Okay, give me 1 second. Go.
Sorry, you both.
All right, very good. Would you rather be in a committed relationship or be friends with benefits?
Committed.
Committed.
Is that boring?
Would you rather have a one-night stand with a stranger or a one-night stand with your platonic best friend?
Whitney, what do you think?
I said platonic. Stranger's more likely to have a random disease.
You're right. Platonic best friend. She who must not be named, because it could be
I
more.
think it was
than
Trish.
one.
Trisha?
Trish? No.
Your
My,
name starts with
my
T?
podcast co-host name is Tiana. That's who you were thinking.
Oh,
of.
Tiana. Okay.
Starts with a T. Yeah.
So Brent says that she who should not be named, or that
She is really
who
really
has to
hot.
be guessed.
We'll just leave it at that.
All right. Pineapple.
Pineapple. Is that the safe word?
Okay. Would you rather have a lackluster proposal in bed or no proposal at all?
No, that wasn't the next one.
Number 4.
The
No.
next one is sex in public or sex in a hiding place.
Sex in a secret hiding place.
Hold
Hold
public.
on. What?
Public.
You said public? Ah, dang it.
I got that one wrong.
You are a freak of
Yeah, you
More
are.
private than that to me, but okay.
Man,
Hiding
Full
place.
of
not doing so well on this one.
Am I hard to read, Everett?
I guess your sexual preferences are for sure.
You should know me. My middle name is Everett, man. We should be like connected.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I suddenly love you, man.
After
Let's go on a date. Forget Whitney. Brent, let's just go date.
Okay, you have to do your date live on Zoom for everybody to watch.
I love it. Okay. Would you rather have a lackluster proposal in bed or no proposal at all?
In bed.
Yay, I got one. All right.
That's your first one?
No, that's my
Wow.
second.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, what's the fun in like no proposal at all?
Yeah, that's lame.
Let me see. Would you number
But
6?
you would never get married if there wasn't a proposal, right?
That just means you're not ready to propose yet. I don't know.
I don't care if you say yes because you like don't hear what I'm asking you, but at least you say yes.
If it's in bed, it always needs to be yes.
And it's always being recorded, so at least I have.
All right, number 6. Would you rather accidentally send nudes to a stranger or your parents? My guess is you probably want to send nudes to your parents.
Why the hell would I want to send nudes to my parents?
Ew.
Did
Now,
we ever talk about Nick's uncles? I mean, Nick's got some crazy family here. So
Nick has a weird family.
if I send nudes to my parents, I know they will delete them. If I send it to a random stranger, who knows where it's going?
But that's why you don't include your face.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Number 1.
Tiny Tim's floating around out there on the internet, but nobody
Dude,
knows.
I have seen
Okay.
pictures of your Tiny Tim. They are out there.
That's gross. You know what I do? When girls ask for nudes, I just search for one on the internet and I send them that one.
That's
That way,
a
I
good
don't
idea.
care
Do
what
they
they
ask for those?
Aren't you the one that said that you don't receive unsolicited dick pics? That kind
Oh,
of
I
leads
don't ask for them.
the other side of the coin is solicited dick pics that you do get.
No. I ask questions around it. I don't ask for
There
a
are-
photo.
There
I
are
see.
some freaky girls out there that
Does
ask-
it fit in a toilet paper roll?
I saw some girl at one point, some guys like send nudes or something like that. So she took like a picture of a nude grandma or something, sent it to him. Like, okay, here you
That's
go.
awesome. You
Yeah.
got to get creative. Like I'm never sending.
Right.
I like the dick pic where they actually have like a guitar pic with the word dick on it. That's
Click on it. Yeah.
that
I
one's-
have received that one.
Richard Nixon, that one's fun. Dick Van Dyke, that one's another good one that I like to send.
Yeah, it's funny that Whitney always says she's never received dick pics, and then earlier she's telling us about these nudes that she's been getting. So,
I never said I got nudes.
No, some guy thought that he sent her nudes, but he was sending.
oh,
Yeah, I didn't get them.
Someone else. Yeah.
okay, all right, I misunderstood.
I was told that I was being sent pictures one a day for 2 weeks, and I was opening them and not responding to them. And I was like, dude, that's not me. We are not friends on Snapchat. So I did not get them. No. Okay, so number 6 with the
All right,
stranger.
Number 7. Would you rather make out with someone at a nightclub or make out with someone at a funeral?
Nightclub.
Yeah. Funeral would just get kind of weird.
That would be
That
weird.
was a weird one.
Yeah.
That was an obvious one, I think.
Would you rather be surprised in bed or always know what's coming?
Definitely surprised.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You always know it's kind of boring.
That is true.
Unless it's amazing. If you know it's amazing.
True, but I mean, too much of a good thing. Sometimes you like to mix it up and don't know what's coming. I mean, that the surprise. It'd be like getting the same awesome Christmas present every year. After a while, you're like, yeah.
Sign me up for that.
You want that? You don't like surprises?
If you know it's going to be awesome, why would I know my car is going to be fun to drive every time I drive it? I still drive it because it's
Wouldn't
fun.
you like to have another
why are
fun
you
car to
defending
drive
that
too?
answer if you said that you want to be surprised?
I'm just saying, like, yeah, good point.
Sometimes the anticipation is the best part, though.
I was just trying to argue with Everett over there.
It's
Everett
okay. I'm worth arguing with. That's cool.
All right, number 9. Would you rather be naked or wear fully covered underwear?
I mean, this one was weird because it's like in bed, in the club, what? So
Yeah.
I just put full underwear.
Yeah.
Lame.
Yeah, I mean,
Lame. I know I'm boring.
That's
Nick's
okay.
house, like, what are we talking about? Nick has you
Yeah,
over
we
for dinner.
needed more to
Hey,
that.
once you come to the door, would you rather?
It's like, would you rather be naked in
Yeah.
a public pool or wear a full underwear? The answer is different.
That makes sense.
Okay, but are you only wearing full underwear? Like nothing else in public?
I don't know. That's why it
What
was a weird.
if your full underwear is like depends?
I think
I
everyone.
mean, there needs
gets
to be a
that
little
one
bit
right.
more around.
Okay, guys, number 9, everyone gets right no matter what because it was a lame.
Number 10. Would you rather get nudes or send nudes?
Get.
Get.
I think that's obvious.
Number 11. Would you rather wear comfortable clothes or sexy clothes to bed?
What do you guys think?
I said comfortable.
I say Brent's wearing that banana hammock to bed every night.
I think
He
he's
goes in there with his nipple tassels and banana hammock, and he just crawls right into bed.
I put sexy on that.
I feel like all of the answers I have not gotten right do not line up with each other. Like they're all contradicting each other.
You know, maybe
Really
I have
put sexy, Brent.
I have different scenarios in my head for every question.
Apparently.
Would you
Was
rather?
I supposed to be thinking about you, Whitney, for all these?
No. No, but I'm trying to read you and I'm like, wait, these things don't match to make a person. These
Hey,
are
newsflash.
contradicting each other.
Newsflash, I am a complicated guy.
Number
Apparently.
12. Would you rather be financially satisfied or sexually satisfied?
I put both.
You
'cause
can't
that
even.
is-
That's where that or thing comes in. This is not
gotta
the
pick
end
one.
world.
It's kind of like we'll throw a dart at the wall, whichever one.
Not
it
in
hits.
my board, not in my world, man. Both.
Pick one.
You got to pick one.
5,
Everybody's taking
4.
a test.
3, 2.
If you're both, that's kind of like you're a gigolo or something. Like you're getting financially satisfied by your sexual
Who
satisfaction.
says I'm not? Who says I'm not?
Is
This
that
is
your other business?
Yeah.
I-
Side hustles have
If I
many-
have to choose, I'm going to say financially.
Financially satisfied,
Because to Whitney's point, like if you're
Then you
financially-
can pay for it.
then you can pay for it. Got it.
or you don't have to pay for it, but women are attracted to you because you make more money.
There
That's
you go. And you'll never get off again. Great. All right, number 13.
Wait, that means I'll never get off because I won't ever be sexually satisfied.
If you're not sexually satisfied, as far as I'm concerned, you're not getting off.
If you're
giving
poor,
myself-
you're not getting off either.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Would you rather have a quickie or an all-night escapade? I'm thinking all-night escapade.
What do you say, Everett?
I'm going all nighter on this one
Not
too.
that I care. Whitney, what do you say?
Wow, I just got dismissed. Ouch.
I went
I don't
with
know why I
all
asked you.
I
know
feel
why I
like you
asked you
seem
for-
like a romantic guy.
I would rather an all-nighter. You got me on that one.
Oh yeah.
What's the longest
Racking
you've
'em
ever
up
had
now.
sex?
4.5 hours straight.
Nice.
Tired already.
How much Viagra did you take before you
Yeah.
started?
How many pills were involved in that? 4.5 hours and 0.
How many years ago was this?
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Do you want me to give you your number? You can verify.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
We need to
Yes.
cite our sources
I will
here.
put it on speaker and we can all be on the same thing. It'll be great. Number.
It was about 3 weeks ago. just to answer your question.
Nice.
Okay.
Number
This just changed my whole perception of you now.
Good or
Your
bad?
next date is definitely, it needs to be on like some sort of a reality show.
Good or bad, Whitney? Good change or bad change?
Guess we'll find out.
number 14. Would you rather be hated by everyone or loved? Oh, I'm sorry. Be hated by everyone but your lover, or be loved by everyone but your lover?
This was a weird one, but I chose A because I want my lover, I guess my spouse, to love me. I mean,
Boom.
I don't know. I think
I
that's
agree
a
with that.
question, but that's what I would choose.
Who cares if everyone in the world loves you, but the one person that like you love hates you?
Yeah.
Stupidest thing ever.
That's how I got to that answer too. I was like deducting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, number 15. Do you want to scream the wrong name, or do you want her to scream the wrong name?
I chose B on that. I don't know why, but that's what I chose. I mean, it's
Want
both
her to know
awkward.
that you were there in the moment, regardless of where she is. Like, I came here for you.
Either way, it would be awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
So you
I don't
pretend.
know that that's ever happened to me.
It's really awkward when you have to correct them twice. No. It's Nick.
Just
I've
pretend
never had
like
that
it's
happen to me
roleplay.
either way, so I don't know.
All right. Would you rather walk in on your parents or have your parents walk in on you? My guess is you want your parents to walk in on you because at least you know you're getting some.
There's no way.
Dad! Look at this!
No way I
Look
want
at
to see
me!
my parents.
No hands!
They've never been proud of me, so maybe that would be one of them. I chose B.
They suddenly are proud of you. Son, we just want to capture this moment. Hold on a second.
We'll just stop.
Honey,
and
go get the camera.
I need to put this on the fridge.
Right.
Awesome. Number 17, would you rather be on top or bottom?
Whitney already thinks she knows the answer to this.
I put down top.
You did reverse psychology. I like to start on the bottom and then finish on the top.
Very good.
Well, you have to choose one.
Yeah.
So my preference is top.
Boom.
Like a man.
Like a man.
Taking ownership.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want your partner to be flirty with you or funny?
Flirty.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
I do like funny though. I mean,
Did you say funny, Everett?
I said funny.
Yeah,
I
because
said
you
funny.
want her to have a good personality.
Yeah, anyone can be flirty. That can wear off, but funny
And if
is
she's
like,
flirty with you, she's probably flirty with everyone.
But
She
you know
just
what? Flirty
flirty
can be.
personality.
Flirty can be funny. Funny doesn't always necessarily flirty.
True.
I'm flirty and funny.
I know you're like the total package.
But I'm hilarious.
All right. So number 19 for the man card. Would you rather have your hair pulled or have your butt smacked?
I mean, I don't have any hair, so I'm like, spank me, baby.
All right, there it is. You heard it here first. And number 20, controversial topic on Whitney's side of things.
Yeah.
Would you rather have car sex or shower sex?
I believe my experience with both leans towards shower sex is better.
Oh, very nice.
ta-da.
You're also closer to the bed usually, so.
That is true.
All right. Not bad. I got a 75% on this quiz.
75%. So you got
3/4 of them right.
10 out of 20.
Okay, so you're not a mathematician for work. Determine that.
No, you got 15. You got
I
15.
got
out of 20?
15.
You got 15,
I
Whitney?
got 15.
You guys are gonna have to arm wrestle over me.
Ooh,
Everybody-
Celeste got 19.
Yeah, everybody
Shut
put
up.
up your
On a date
score.
with
What'd you get?
Celeste, send me your number. She obviously knows me. Yeah, baby. I got 19.
5 times.
13, 15s. You guys know me pretty well though. There's no like twos. 12. Skip. Skip, you were so close.
So close.
skips your second date
Is 9
after
a
Celeste.
Number 9 is
Well,
a gimme.
9
Yes.
is only
I
a
counted
gimme.
number 9 as wrong.
If you didn't
No,
get
number 9 was a gimme.
right.
Number 9, everyone got number
Okay,
9.
then I got 16 then.
What? No, you're changing.
Everybody's just
First
changing
one.
them.
What was the first
15
one?
now.
Sexless marriage.
Oh,
It-
the first one.
no one's gonna
the
beat
loveless
Celeste
or
anyway.
sexless marriage.
What was
Yeah.
that one?
It doesn't
No,
matter.
9 was the
Celeste is the
underwear.
winner.
Unless somebody got a perfect 20 out of 20, nobody's beating Celeste.
Yeah. All right, Celeste, send me your info. We're going on a date. I don't know
We'll
where
have
you live.
to
You're at, baby.
set that up, and it has to be recorded. It has to be recorded, and we have to play it here. We'll call it the follow up.
The follow up sounds good.
Yep. We'll call it the follow up.
Sounds good. I'll DM you. No unsolicited nudes. Unsolicited.
If you do, just don't include your face.
Would it really be unsolicited at this point when you're like, go ahead and send them?
Did I say that?
You don't have to say it.
Hey,
put
but I mean,
those
if they're
work just
not
as well.
nude,
Oh, she said never mind. So okay, you go ahead. Fine.
if they're not nude though, then it's fine.
Well, this has been fun, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Brent, thanks for coming on tonight. It was awesome getting to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I now know that you want to be spanked rather than have your hair pulled. But in other ways, we did get to know you even better. So,
Is that a deal breaker for you, Everett?
you know, I'm going to have to spend some time thinking about this one. I don't know.
It's not a deal breaker for me.
You know my DM.
I would love to slap you.
Yeah, it's on. I'm gonna drive up to Twin Falls just for that spanking.
Ah,
Right. Yeah, as soon as Whitney's like, when I see the big fire on the horizon over there coming from Idaho, I'll know you guys finally hooked up. I'll be like nuclear. Like, well,
well, he wants to
somebody's
do it in
getting
public,
tased tonight.
so it's gonna be
That's right.
a spectacle.
I feel like it could be pretty amazing, Whitney. So
Could be.
I mean,
lots of tasing, lots of spanks.
I have
I
to
feel like we need to have a separate podcast just for a follow-up after your guys' date.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah.
We could make that happen. We could make that happen.
So now this is gonna be like kind of the challenge. We're throwing down the gauntlet here. If you guys have a really boring date, then you both suck. You're both responsible because right here, right now, you both know that the other
I've
person's
never
crazy.
had a bad date though.
I was actually just
I've
gonna
heard
see
about
if
your dates.
Celeste-
All your dates are bad.
No, they're not.
I was just gonna see if Celeste would be interested in a little threesome. Then it would.
Yeah.
definitely-
Ooh, actually, me and Celeste are like already in for that. Like we're already hooked up. So I mean, if you want to join in, that's probably fine.
You guys are already experienced together. That
Yeah,
third one?
we're already ready to just get married. So
Perfect.
They could do a little sister wives with you, Brent. There you go.
I would love a sister wife, probably more than a husband.
So you want a sister wife and no husband? Is that what I'm getting out of this?
I mean, he'd be fine too, but a sister wife would be awesome.
Nice.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
All right, I am going to go ahead and conclude this podcast.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your